Yeah, he's saying if he was an Animorph, he would turn into a human and beat the shit out of me.
You hear that, Hasbro? Make this now!
We'll see where my 3D printing career goes. Maybe I'll become a lol cow.
Getting to talk about figures that I think deserve more love and deserve to be sent in a fire.
Welcome, dutiful students, once again to the Chugcratic seminar. I am the headmaster of the School of Athenia, Kit Catastrophe, and I'm joined by two of my most esteemed friends and colleagues. First, the Dean of Critique, Runestone.
Howdy, people. How you all doing?
And followed is the Dean of Fabrication, definitely Not Char.
Hello, hello. It's lovely to be here on this fine afternoon.
Unfortunately, once again, the Dean of the Arts, IdArmed, is still unable to make it to the initial recording, but we do anticipate his presence later on. So hopefully he'll show up sometime before we finish. Before we, start talking to one another, I will introduce the topic, being the Transformers 2007 toy line, one that is very, very nostalgic to all three of us. But so how are y'all doing?
And tonight's podcast. Sorry, go on.
No, I wasn't gonna. I'd go ahead, Rune.
And tonight's podcast will be featuring the phrase "surprisingly not into a rector."
Yes.
I think that went over my head.
I think I got it. But also, yeah, I've been good. I've been slowly working away on secret projects that may or may not come to light in the realm of fabrication as your humble Dean of Fabrication.
Is that so?
Yes.
Do you want to? Are you at liberty to discuss any facets of your work, or are you waiting to publish?
I can talk about a couple things. I've been making. I've been prototyping joints. I'm not sure if you've seen, but I'm prototyping methods for making ratchet joints using 3D printing and other materials for a certain project that's coming up.
Neodymium mined straight from China.
Indeed.
Yeah, that's where all your grant money went.
Listen, I got to spend that grant money somehow.
So, Runestone, how are you holding up? Last we spoke, we were all on your channel discussing Power Core Combiner Smolder. I'd say that was a pretty successful session.
Yeah, if primarily due to the fact that I didn't need antidepressants after rewatching it again. But yeah, this is something that I'm doing with these extracurricular videos now, because in addition to toy reveals, we're also doing toy talks. And like you said, we discussed Smolder with Chopster. And I mean, at long last, I finally managed to get ID on for one of those. And I have other figures in mind for that. One toy that I have in mind is Earthrise Cliffjumper, because I feel he makes for a good talking point regarding a certain ongoing practice in Transformers that I can't say that a lot of us are too thrilled about.
Yes, he's a bit of a lightning rod.
I was speaking about him on another server just yesterday, I believe. Actually, in defense of the toy, but I suppose I'll save that for the actual discussion.
Right.
So have y'all added to your collections in any meaningful way recently?
Oh, I certainly have, especially given the last 2 months we have skipped recent purchases segments. I've amassed quite a few recent purchases.
Do tell.
Well, the first thing I got was since we last discussed our recent purchases, I got myself another figure from Toy World, and that was their Focke-Wulf triplane, Focke-Wulf triplane Thundercracker, and that was cool. Not the best build quality, but hey, very cool design, very cool detailing, lots of paint apps.
That's pretty much how I feel about their barricade.
Yeah. Then I acquired myself my first Diaclone toy, my first Diaclone reboot toy, in the Hawk Vasalta from Not Char.
Nice.
It is a very nice toy. It is very fun to fiddle around with. It sparked a lot of headcanons for me.
Yes. I bought a couple things off of Neokyo myself, but they haven't arrived yet, so I don't really want to speak about them until I actually have an opinion. But they are some very, very prestige items. I'm very excited.
Ooh. And then a friend of mine found me an excellent deal on Superlink Wing Saber and Star Convoy.
Star Convoy? You
Yeah,
got a
Star Convoy. I have a Star Convoy now.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Like the one from 1991 or whatever?
Yes, that one.
You've never mentioned this.
Didn't I? I swear I did.
No.
I have a. It's not 100%. It's missing a couple of the ramps and the little turret thing.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm the proud owner of a of a Wing Saber. I have a Wing Saber of a Star Convoy. I'm the proud owner of a Star Convoy. It has the little truck and it has the Micromaster Rodimus Prime. It's missing the tracks and it's missing a few of the ramps and
Perhaps
the electronic.
3D print those.
Yes, that might be a project I'm working on. The annoying thing is I don't have the original parts to base my design on, so it's a bit difficult to like.
Maybe you'll be able to find someone who can give you some measurements.
That's what I've been trying to look for. Someone who would be willing to give me some measurements, specifically for the radius of the tracks when they're like spread out, because that's the main thing I need.
Gotcha.
But got that. Got Superlink Wing Saber. And then Superlink Wing Saber gave me a hankering for Grand Convoy. So what I ended up doing is ended up going on Facebook Marketplace and I got myself Grand Convoy. But not only did I get Grand Convoy, no, I got Grand Convoy. I got Superlink Sprung, who many will know as the bulkhead who isn't fat. And I got myself Micron Legend Jetfire and Magnus, because he's called Magnus in Japan and not Overload.
Hell yeah.
And they're both very cool.
This year will probably prove to be a Superlink year for me, because my most recent purchase is just straight from eBay. I got a complete Energon Inferno, and he is by far the most interesting Autobot Deluxe from the line that I have encountered. His transformation of vehicle mode is pretty basic. What you see is exactly what you get, but his transformations to both shirt and pants modes, especially pants mode, is sublime. But the only other purchase I feel like talking about is I went to a toy store in Plano, Texas a couple weeks ago, and I found a loose, incomplete, it's just missing the 2 missiles, BotCon Sharktacon from 2010. I got him for $50, and I'm very happy with it. It's another Energon mold now that I think about it.
Yeah.
And it's a very nice one. I don't have any other version of the mold. So
you know which version of the Energon Sharktacon mold I have?
I would imagine. No, I don't.
I have Skybite.
Nice.
Yeah.
Runestone, what about you?
Mine aren't nearly as remarkable, but in trying to get into Generation 1 a little bit more, I recently picked up a retro Skywarp.
Oh, the cartoon colors.
Yeah, because whenever a Seeker is released, I'll usually pick up the Skywalk version. Very, very dated mold, but you know, it's I guess it's kind of fun to have in a way. And the other purchase, my most recent purchase, is Studio Series Rise of the Beast Scourge.
I have not had the chance to get that mold at any in any way.
He's all right. His vehicle mode is a bit jank, although considering the kind of character he is, it kind of makes sense for him. But yeah, and then the robot mode, very, very intimidating, very creepy, as you'd expect. Not much beyond that.
Yeah,
I'm just
Does
trying
his
to
head
keep up.
not? Does his head not have a problem falling off?
Mine doesn't, although I haven't really messed with the head sculpt, so I guess I'll find out sooner or later.
I see. I see.
yeah. Maybe I'll sound a bit picky, but I was very disappointed when we found out that ROTB Scourge was not in fact an evil laser prime in the movieverse style.
Yeah, remember that? Remember that fan theory where everyone's like, "Oh, it's Bayverse Prime. It's Bayver. He's evil." And then the movie itself teased that it was gonna reveal that sort of thing. And then it's just, oh no, it's just some guy. Because like,
He doesn't
remember
even
when he
look
gets
like
when he
Laser
gets
Prime.
his mask knocked off, you don't see his face for like a full minute. So like everyone was just like, "Oh, they're gonna reveal it as Bayverse Prime." No, they didn't.
I feel like a lot of people would have been mad if it was Bayverse Prime, though.
I would have been so hype.
Yeah, because that's what we really need. The people who are theorizing that Bayverse Prime is a psychopath. Yeah, why not just add a little more fuel to the fire?
I mean, is that a theory?
Yeah, it's more of an observation than anything.
Yeah. Also, one last aside. I forgot to mention. I in the last couple months I got myself Metal Cardbot Black Hook. I think I didn't mention that, did I? In the last
No,
few
but I
months.
also don't know Metal Carbots by name anyway. So
He's the pirate ship one.
oh, cool.
Yes.
So shall we? We have in our slides just a couple slides talking about the most recent reveals because we haven't really felt the need to do a full-on what's the word? An extracurricular on these reveals. And it turns out most of these are repaints or reuses anyway. Like there's not a single new mold on this slide. So
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I didn't really bother with the extracurricular video on them. But I will say that as redecos and retools go, they on the whole they range from a pleasant surprise to what the fuck is that tank mode?
Oh God. Oh, what did they do to my boy?
yeah, I might just go for the Titans Return Quake.
Yeah. Oh, if they had just leaned into it being a turretless tank, I think it could have worked so much better, honestly. I don't know why they were trying to make it into some weird Abrams with a Sherman, with like the silhouette of a Sherman or something like that. It's ugh.
Very strange.
Yeah.
I found the response to Slipstream to be very overwhelmingly negative, but I don't really have much of a problem with her. The head just looks a little funky on the body, but I think she's otherwise fine. I might pick her up. I liked Windblade enough.
I think the fact that the torso is basically unchanged. I get that she faux forms, but like the cockpit chest is just so minimal that it's basically non-existent. It's just like a teal gem on her chest.
I suppose so.
I mean, this isn't the first time that a Slipstream has been a retool of a Windblade figure, and I guess the disappointment just boils down to, they probably could have done more with her.
Yeah. And I hate to be the old thing good guy, but like, in my opinion, that version of Slipstream, which is a retool from the original Windblade mold, in my opinion, looks significantly better. At least as a Slipstream.
I mean, for me, it may look better as a retool, but for me, it doesn't really change the fact that the mold is kind of mid.
That's fair. That's fair.
Geocron, can I just say that Geocron is kind of unfortunate because that shade of brown combined with the molded detailing, it's just
Oh, I thought you had the Cadbury's color scheme.
no.
But yeah, Motormaster looks nice. Animated Motormaster. I love the head sculpt. It looks just like, or at least from here, it looks just like I remember. Target is going to be unshoppable once again because it's just going to be full of Metal Hawks for the next 2 years, just like it has been for the past 2 years. And we're getting 2 Galvatrons in the same wave, both Armada and Energon.
Two Unicron trilogy Galvatrons in the same wave.
Yeah.
I passed on. Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna bitch about Energon Galvatron a little because in vehicle mode his cockpit has less paint in different places from the regular Megatron version, and it just looks worse. It looks like when Megatron was revealed, I called him a Happy Meal toy, and this one looks even more so in vehicle mode. Also, the yellow paint and plastic just kind of looks like cheese from here. Very fake cheese.
I'll still be picking up that Galvatron because I skipped out on the Megatron. But I'm telling you that to this day, the super class Galvatron from Energon, like the Hasbro version that isn't show accurate, that to this day is still one of my holy grails because it looks like a beautiful toy.
Yes. That's Galvatron specifically, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I keep seeing Energon Megatrons on Facebook Marketplace for like pittance. Usually incomplete, but still.
The only thing that sucks is that since you're after the USA version, you can't really just go to Neokyo and buy it cheap from Japan.
Yeah.
Because it was a limited release in Japan. And then... Go ahead.
I was just saying, I don't plan on picking up the Armada Galvatron, although one character that I'd like to see done with this mold is Mega Zarak.
Yes, I agree. That is one amazing color scheme. And then Hasbro's just taking the piss with leader class Soundwave with his cassettes, Buzzsaw, Ravage, and Take Your Pick. I honestly forget who's on the box.
They couldn't even do like Enemy and Howlback or whatever one of the other Ravage redecos is.
Yeah. The biggest problem for me is they just packed in a tape they already released at retail. And it's the more common one. I found so many I'm guessing, are they calling this one Rumble? The blue one? I found so many of the blue ones, but I've never found the red one in a store. So.
Oh God! What if that's the trick? What if the retail one? What if the one that's sold separately is Rumble and the one sold with Soundwave is Frenzy? But they're both the blue version.
Yeah. Like it's funny to hear like people describe that cassette as like Rumble, but in his toy accurate colors, and I'm like, don't be silly, guys. Toy Rumble is red.
You know what this screams of? You know what this screams? This screams of the Blaster Twin Cast situation, where Blaster came with Eject and Twin Cast came with Rewind. They're just gonna do Laserbeak and the red one and some repaint of They'll probably make him like stripes or something for Sound Blaster. That's what they're gonna do. I'm calling it now.
Why did they do this as Sound Blaster?
Because Soundwave was a Walmart exclusive, and they just wanted to get the mold out again so everyone else could buy it. I'm very tired.
It was released at a very weird time. So wasn't it something? It was released during COVID or something like that.
Yes,
and there was like this massive issue with the distribution or something like that.
Yeah.
Also, Metal Hawk is just almost a package refresh, except in toy accurate colors. Apparently,
I don't get who this is for.
I don't. And honestly, the like I mentioned before, the initial release of Metal Hawk did not sell. Why are they releasing him again? I can still find Metal. Well, no, he has been at my targets. He's been replaced with Trash Master, but for well over a year, I could find nothing but Metal Hawks at my target. And then we just have a couple more repaints and retools to discuss. Comic Edition, Emirate Zaron with Flame, and the GoBot 3-pack of Pathfinder, Smallfoot, and Shreds.
Oh boy, that flame. That's a definite skip for me. Not because it's a bad toy, but just because Flame as a design from the beginning Flame and Zaron not really at all like my kind of design for a Transformer. They're just, you can tell they were designed by comic book artists and not toy designers.
Flame just looks like Rodimus if he was more of a dick.
Yeah, that is always something I think about Flame. He looks like Rodimus through like a very weird through like a weird filter.
Yeah.
They better.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying they better have at least cut those tabs off the back of his knees.
They haven't.
Oh God.
They have not. It's been confirmed.
But hey, they made a toy of Sixo, so that's cool.
I was gonna say that.
And they got him to reveal it. Like that's like the peak of his YouTube career.
Yeah, that's like more. Well, I mean, more people know that face as Sixo than they know it as Zaron now. So,
for the longest time, I thought it was like a weird Bumblebee because it was colored yellow.
I never really put much thought into it. I just thought it was some Genericon from the Marvel comics.
I mean, you wouldn't be wrong.
That's fair.
And then there's the 3 GoBot exclusive 3-pack. Pathfinder looks great. That mold looks great in blue. I like it. It's very, I don't know what it is, but it's reminding me of something. Treads is okay. I didn't really like Warpath that much. He's so fiddly. And Smallfoot, I just don't like the colors, especially the face, like pink on red with yellow eyes. Ugh.
It looks like ham.
It looks like weird cheap ice cream.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I get what you mean.
I just get a very, very, very ice creamy vibe from Smallfoot.
Smallfoot looks like, to me, you know those clown ham. You know the clown ham. Have you ever seen that image where it's like a ham, but it's like shaped like a clown?
No.
That's the vibe I get. I'll find you a picture real quick.
Runestone, will you be go-botting?
Not right away. The only of the mini bot GoBots that I have is Road Ranger. Because I like the
color scheme on the Huffer repaint.
I do find it funny how these characters, despite supposedly being GoBots characters, based on GoBot characters, have color schemes entirely separate from their original incarnations.
This is because Hasbro's not allowed to make actual GoBot like design toys. Like the only one they can reference is Crasher.
That seems
like,
so
that's
strange.
the only one. Like Crasher is the only one they can legally do.
Surely they are
everything
allowed to
else
have
is-
the likenesses of the cartoon characters, though.
No, I don't think so.
It is very strange.
Yes, quite. Oh, I see the clown ham. I see. I have seen that image before. You were just describing it very weird.
I was.
Shall we move on to the actual subject of our podcast, the 2007 movie Toyline? This Toyline was released in 2007.
Wild. That's crazy.
If you can believe that.
Yeah, just the year 2007 marked one. Well, in my opinion, it marked one of the biggest turning points for Transformers in general, because, for one, the live-action film brought the brand back into the public eye. I mean, the brand was still popular prior, just not quite as mainstream as it had been a while, since the days of G1. And the toy range, meanwhile, introduced elements that would become more commonplace in future lines, because the Legends size class, which debuted in Cybertron, pretty much became a mainstay for a while. And we also got gimmick-themed sublines, which ran concurrently with the main line.
Yes, it really was a bit of a sea change for what we would come to expect from future main lines, like animated, like Revenge of the Fallen. And now it's become a straight up bifurcation, I would say, because now we have Studio Series, and then most of the gimmick toys are reserved to the main line. For like Rise of the Beast, for example, or Bumblebee. Those two films, while Rise of the Beast did have a sort of main line, it was mostly, vast majority, made of gimmick toys. But speaking of Legends class and gimmick toys, we can jump right into those right away.
Okay.
Now, I don't really have a whole lot of experience with either of these sub-ranges, but so I guess I'll let the two of you take the lead on this.
Well, I do. These toys, these molds were very big for me in my childhood. I remember I had at least a version of pretty much every mold here, except for Bone Crusher. I think Bone Crusher is the only... No, Bone Crusher and Scorponok are the only molds I see here that I did not have as a child and have never had.
I believe those were only released as part of like 2-packs.
All right, that tracks then.
Actually, in the UK, there were some of the later Legends class figures that were sold in 2-packs were also sold individually as well, and I think Bone Crusher was actually one of them.
Oh, I see.
All right.
Skill issue, Char.
Yeah, apparently.
I basically experienced all the Legends class figures in this toy line. I've done reviews on all of them. Check them out when you get the chance, audience. But the thing about the Legends class figures in this line was that, unlike in Cybertron, where they try to replicate and simplify the larger toys conversions, with these, the transformations were reworked from the ground up. If you want an example, take Blackout. On the Voyager class figure, the arms store beside the fuel tanks while the legs simply rotate and peg into the body. On the Legends class toy, the arms combine to form the cockpit while the legs fold up in a different way. Many other examples exist if you wish to go through them, Char.
Oh yeah, there's Jazz who has an entire fake chest just sitting on the roof.
Yeah, I was just about to bring up that. Like, Jazz was a weird one. Was a weird one because like it's interesting how like they make the faux chest, but like, and that forms like the whole thing where the back of the vehicle becomes the back of the chest, which is accurate to the movie. So the back is more accurate than the chest, which is a weird thing, but it's kind of cool. I actually have Legends Class Grindor, which was of course a ROTF repaint, in my hand right now. It's one of the things I just keep on my desk.
I would like to correct something I said earlier where I said I didn't have experience with these molds. I do have the Dark of the Moon repaint of that Legends barricade, and it is a quite satisfying Legends.
That's the white version, right? Right, white and blue. Yes.
He's been retooled so that he can hold things too.
Yeah, so he can have like the little Cyberverse weapons, because then it wasn't Legends class anymore, it was Cyberverse.
Oh yeah, Legion class.
Yes.
Legion class was such a good name.
Legion class was cool. Legion class, maybe this isn't the right time to talk about it, but Legion class, in my opinion, was almost like the return of Micromasters.
Yeah, it was like, okay, these are the cheapest ones. You can buy a shit ton of them and have a lot of them. So it's
and you can also have like transforming bases for them.
Yes. Anyway, we also have these gimmick toys, the Cyber Slammers, and especially the Fast Action Battlers. These were by far the most prominent gimmick toys.
Yeah, the fast
BioDragon 882. You will be getting extra homework today.
See me after class.
Yeah, the Fast Action Battlers, I definitely don't have any experience with these, but the one that is pictured has also been reviewed on Runestone's channel.
Yes, I had this one and reviewed it because it was the only what you might call proper version of Frenzy, one that actually had a proper transformation and alt mode to it.
It was very.
Are you telling me the one that they packed in with Barricade didn't suffice?
No, he's just a plain contortionist.
I had this one as a kid as well. Fast Action Battlers, at least in my experience, being a kid who grew up with the 07 movie, Fast Action Battlers were like the de facto Transformers toy if you were sort of in that younger age range. Which makes sense. They were always they always seemed like they were marketed to a younger age range. They were like more chibified almost. If you notice all the proportions, they have slightly bigger heads, and all those sorts of things, and of course the simplified transformations.
Yes.
And Fast
and
Action.
they all had a gimmick of their own.
Yeah,
they were basically like it was basically like Armada without the minicons and with Movieverse characters. And they even did their own unique repaints. Like, I remember actually seeing in person the Fast Action Battler Ramjet repaint of Starscream in white and red.
Yeah, about that. I've acquired it.
Really?
Yeah. I'll be reviewing it at some point. Its full name is Claw/Ramjet.
Yes.
The other one that I hope to get at some point is the Sonic Shock smokescreen.
Oh yes, and I love that in Revenge of the Fallen, both of those designs got their own like mainline toys as well. I have Revenge of the Fallen smokescreen and Ramjet, and their color schemes are very based off. Well, actually, no, smokescreen's Fast Action Battler smokescreen is based off of G1, just straight up, isn't it? Now that I think about it.
Honestly, the Revenge of the Fallen smokescreen is kind of why I want a Fast Action Battler smokescreen, because the ROTF one looks kind of dull.
I like it. I like the muted teal. I like it. It's very soothing. But anyway, before we get onto the main line, we'd also like to touch upon the. I mistimed our slides. Okay, there was also another subline called Real Gear Robots, where if you recall the third act of the 2007 film, someone dropped the Allspark, and it made all these machines come alive, like Dispensor and an Xbox 360 and a steering wheel. And this subline sort of takes that idea and runs with it, having all of these characters turn into everyday objects, like cell phones and controllers and watches. Basically, just really going back to the old Microman days in a way.
Yeah, a total of 8 molds were produced for the Real Gear Robot subline. We had the Binoculus, Farsight and Longview, the cell phone, Highline, Speed Dial and Wiretap, the digital camera, Spy Shot and Photon, the digital watch, Meantime and Midnighter, the MP3 player, Nightbeat and Booster, the portable game system, Hacker and Power Up, the video camera, Zoom Out, the video game controller, High Score and Twitcher.
I actually have a bit of a little bit of a funny anecdote about High Score. I had High Score as a kid, and you know what I didn't have as a kid? A video game console. So what I would do sometimes is I would pretend to play video games on High Score, and pretend I had a video game console.
Wait, was High Score the controller or the PSP knockoff?
He was the controller.
Oh, gotcha. Yes, out of all of these, I have Meantime, the purple watch, both of the digital camera, Spy Shot and Photon. Photon always scared me as a kid because it had a creepy image of Frenzy on the screen. And I have Speed Dial, the gray cellular phone.
You see, Kit, in previous podcasts, you've been asking me if I still have like some of the toys I've had in my past that I've reviewed already. And typically I've answered not anymore, but these I actually still have.
You are a man of good taste.
And not only do I have like the original ones I reviewed, I've acquired some new ones.
Oh? I really need to get around to completing this set.
The only two that I don't have, and good fucking luck trying to get a hold of these, is Midnighter and Twitcher.
Which one's Midnighter again?
Midnight is the monochrome watch, and Twitcher is the green video game controller that is supposedly an homage to Halo.
Oh, I see it now. That's funny.
He's John
so
Halo.
You actually have the blue binoculars?
Yes, I have. I've acquired Farsight.
Nice. That one's pretty rare too. Being late wave and all.
Yeah, because like I just want to say that for me, these are like the Revenge of the Fallen Scouts, in that the Real Gear robots were just simple yet charming toys that they could redeco for either faction.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, were these toys not originally intended to be part of the Cybertron toy line as well?
That is what most people say, yes. I can't remember if that's been debunked or not, but I want to say that you're right.
I mean, it tracks certainly when a lot of the sculpting is far more reminiscent of the Unicron Trilogy era characters than movieverse characters.
Yes, I would agree. And it especially helps that a lot of Unicron Trilogy characters do appear on the various screens, like on Longview, you can see Crumple Zone. Right here, you can actually see Override on the camcorder screen, and on the PSP, there's Cybertron Jetfire, and also on Spy Shot, there's a picture of Ramsack. So a lot of Cybertron characters appear on these toys.
Yeah. It was just Cybertron. It was just Cybertron characters, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah. Though, as the line progressed, I do believe that because Photon has a picture of Frenzy, so they switched them out for movie characters.
Yeah, and the portable game system redeco called Hacker has an image of Optimus, like movie Optimus Prime, on the screen.
Yes.
The only mold of the group that did not receive a redeco was the video camera zoom out, probably because well, if memory serves, he wasn't exactly a great seller.
That's a shame. He looks like the most interesting to me.
And you know what? I gotta say that one thought that has been going through my mind is that it would have been so cool if zoom out was redecoed into the colors, specifically the prototype colors of Armada Laserbeak.
I thought you were going reflector there, but that's pretty cool too. Yeah, the baby blue and the bright orange, that would go nicely.
I'd call it a lens flare 5K.
I like it.
I love all of these.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be a single bad mold out of the entire set. All of them are very unique and interesting.
Well, I mean, some are more successful than others. Like the cell phone is weaker compared to a lot of the others because it just has a good chunk of the toy hanging off the back.
Yeah, but how else could it do the flip phone gimmick?
Well, yeah, but that's pretty much a double-edged sword at that point.
I know. I'm just saying. Something sorry, go ahead, Rune.
No, all I was going to say was that a lot of these devices actually had pushable buttons, adding authenticity.
Yeah, the camera mold's shutter button is very clicky.
Yeah, that was very addictive. Also, the thumbsticks on the game controller mold were wiggleable, which was very cool. One of my favorite tricks is the binocular mold. You were actually able to see all the way through them. I'm not sure if they had any magnifying effect, but the fact that they were designed in a way that you could see from one end to the other through them is very cool.
The camera also has something like that, but obviously it's very blurry.
You're telling me it actually takes photos?
No, you can see through the I don't know what to call it. Like the little glass thing that you look through on an old camera to.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The oh fuck, I know the name, but now I don't.
A viewfinder, maybe. Let's go with that.
Yeah, viewfinder.
At any rate, it would have been cool if they sort of continued this idea through Revenge of the Fallen, because in the first act of that film, you had all these kitchen appliances and household appliances come to life.
Well, we did have the toaster bot in that film. Or
we did have that, but it would be cool if there was just a full-on second subline of Real Gear robots.
Would you have wanted the blender penis robot?
Dude, yeah. I would stick him on my nightstand.
Very cool.
I think the watch could just about wrap around your wrist.
Yeah, when I was 10.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe once.
At any rate, we should probably move on. We're nearly an hour in.
Oh boy.
Wait, surely there was another. I'm fairly certain we're missing a slide.
What
never mind. It was moved to the end, I think. So yeah, shall we move on to Deluxe class?
Sure.
Yes.
Starting off, we have the preview wave of Protoform Optimus Prime and Protoform Starscream, along with the classic Camaro Bumblebee from Wave 1.
Yes.
I actually still remember the day I got Protoform Optimus. It was the day that I finished 5th grade. It was in May, and I got him and Classics Voyager Optimus as a treat.
Very based. I think I actually, strangely enough, I think I have a specific memory of going to the Entertainer and getting Classics Voyager Optimus Prime as well.
Really?
Yeah. I remember the interior of that very specific Entertainer and the fact they also had SPD Megazords on the other shelf.
But But yeah, I still have my Protoform Optimus, and I've reviewed it if you want to know my in-depth thoughts on the mold. I also do own the classic Camaro Bumblebee, though one of the door hinges is broken, so it just flops very loosely now. Though Starscream is not a mold I have experienced, nor will I be likely to, considering he is a GPS victim.
Yeah, and it's a shame. It's a cool looking design. I also have Protoform Optimus. I don't remember where I got Protoform Optimus from, but I'm pretty sure I had it on release. Because it's one of my childhood toys. And I got the classic Camaro Bumblebee. I'm pretty sure as part of a 3-pack. I think back in the UK, maybe it was in America as well, but there was a 3-pack of Camaro Bumblebee, Classic Bumblebee, and another Bumblebee, I think.
I think it was the concept Bumblebee.
The concept
Either
Bumblebee?
that or animated.
No, it wasn't animated because they didn't have an animated Bumblebee. But they all had like battle damage colors, I think.
Yeah, I believe then it must be the concept. Classic Camaro, Classics Bumblebee, and Concept Bumblebee. That sounds right.
The two protoforms, that's pretty much a case of longevity versus looks right there.
Yeah, Starscream looks great, though he does have a pre-production head in that photo. I'd say Optimus still looks pretty good. I mean, he's a bit chunky, a bit kibbly, and he got monkey toes, but I mean that's movie accurate.
They try to incorporate their soon-to-be alt modes into the designs as well, with the cab windows for Prime and the jet turbines and Starscream.
Yeah, it's very clever. I'd say very inspired. They knew what they were doing. I also just like there being a preview wave at all of just these two designs that one of them's not even in the movie. They're just like, okay, these are them before they come to Earth. Get ready, you know?
Yeah, it was like hyping up the toy line.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And they still sort of did that in Revenge of the Fallen, where they led it with a completely Cybertronian sound wave and, that year's new Bumblebee, where he turns into the 09 Camaro. It didn't hit quite right. It didn't hit as well as movie 1 did, but it was still a pretty good effort. And then in Dark of the Moon, their preview wave was just Cyberverse Optimus.
The protoforms, if I'm not mistaken, provide some of the earliest examples of effects parts.
Yes, Optimus and Starscream both have these flame pieces that Optimus can use it for like a flamethrower, and it doubles as the reentry burning. Well, both of them have the reentry burning.
The tail of the asteroid of their asteroid forms.
Yeah.
Also, I looked up on TF Wiki. The 2-pack I had as a kid was the Evolution of a Hero 2-pack.
I thought you said it was a 3-pack.
It was a 2-pack. My memory betrayed me. It was a 2-pack of concept Camaro Bumblebee and classic Camaro Bumblebee, and they both have battle damage.
Gotcha.
Yep. And I remember I got that because in primary school I brought my Camaro Bumblebee into school, my concept Camaro Bumblebee into school, and some kid threw it against the ground, which caused the ball joint holding the two halves together to break.
Oof.
Yeah.
And that ball joint's tricky enough to get back into place when it's not broken.
Yeah. Yeah. Very sad. But hey, I got 2 Bumblebees out of 1, so.
The classic Camaro Bumblebee mod, I seem to recall, was rather infamous for having a busted automorph right out of the package.
Yes. I don't remember out of the package, but I did know that it was notoriously fragile. Mine, knock on wood, is still intact. Mine just has a busted door.
Funny you should mention that. The automorph that actually became misaligned for me was the modern Chimera Bumblebee. That was the one where I had problems with the automorph.
Did it break or did it just misalign?
It just misaligned, so it wouldn't close up properly.
Well, that's fixable at least.
Yeah, true.
It's kind of clever how the missiles on the Bumblebee serve as exhausts.
Yeah, I think that's pretty clever. It's just a shame that, in my experience, it's a bit hard to keep the vehicle mode together when they're in place. Maybe I'm just doing it wrong, but things don't line up quite as nicely. And you can kind of see that in the official image. The doors don't sit quite flush.
Yeah, no, they sit pretty far up from the back unless you have them unless you push the thing up, and then they sort of sit they sit upwards. They point upwards.
I'm in vehicle mode.
Oh, my bad.
One thing I do want to bring up is the fact that you probably can't see it on this slide, but the packaging on a lot of these toys actually goes out of its way to tell you what kind of vehicle it is, like the model, make, and everything.
Yeah, like in this Bumblebee image, it says classic Camaro mode because most of these were licensed vehicles, so they gotta shout it out. Like they got Lockheed Martin branding for Starscream. They got Hummer for Ratchet, GMC for Ironhide, and so on and so forth. I'm not sure if Optimus is licensed, but if he is, they'd have.
I'm pretty sure it's a Kenworth.
Yeah, something like that.
Just to expand on what I was saying before, that there is apparently a paragraph on TF Wiki about the Automorph. Basically, the toy initially had even tabs for the Automorph gimmick. They then later retooled it so that the tabs would be uneven, and as a result, this led to many copies where the tab snapped during transformation.
Ah, I see. So Hasbro retroactively made a toy worse. Good to know.
Very unfortunate. Shall we move on to the next slide?
Yes, let's. Here we have Barricade with his repaint Recon Barricade and Decepticon Brawl. I can only speak on Barricade on this slide as I don't have Brawl.
I have Brawl.
Just for everyone in the audience, if there's a toy in this slideshow, there's a very good likelihood that Runestone's reviewed it. He had the whole line.
Well, not quite, but we'll get there when we get there. And as you could probably gather, I've decided to simplify things immensely by grouping the redecos together, or at least the mainline redecos together. But yeah, Barricade, like this bounces off what we were discussing in the smaller video, that Barricade stands out for taking on an actually deceptive alt mode for a Decepticon. What are the chances, right?
Yes, he was one of the few Decepticons who wasn't a military vehicle in that film. And also, I think the only Decepticon in that film who wasn't a military vehicle. He was the only one who was
Megatron, duh.
You could say that it's the Cybertronian military. We don't know.
Also, Frenzy.
Military
IdArmed is
boombox.
here! Yay!
Hooray!
Hello. I'm finally here.
Yippee!
He's back after his pilgrimage.
Yeah.
He's finally returned. We finally got all 4 deans.
The Dean of the Arts himself, IdArmed! Yay!
Hello.
Anyway, am I the only person who experienced Deluxe Brawl being super fragile in that, like, the connection of the turret to the body was super tenuous and would fall off a lot? Because that was my experience with that toy.
I didn't have that experience, but I'm just going to say straight up that Deluxe Brawl is a tragedy because the look of the toy is great. And his transformation is actually kind of clever in how it tucks the arms underneath the turret while still having the turret spin. But there are two major setbacks to this one. Firstly, the gears that make up the automorph. You know, when you fold the front of the tank forward and his head flips up and the treads flip up on his collar, they're made of clear plastic, and we all know how durable that stuff is, don't we?
Oh wow, I didn't realize it was.
Yeah, especially when it comes to load-bearing parts like those gears.
Well, the second and frankly more egregious problem, those shoulder connections are garbage. They won't peg in for shit. And while there was apparently a running change with the gears, the same cannot be said for the shoulders. Even when Brawl received a minor repaint in the same line with those Allspark blue paint apps, you know, the shoulders weren't fixed. It took until Revenge of the Fallen's Deep Desert Brawl to rectify the shoulders. And unfortunately, the fixed version of the mold was never recolored back into Brawl's movie accurate colors, not even for movie the best. Like, I can't believe.
Did they just go with the leader class mold for that line?
I think so, but about the Deluxe Brawl, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but what were they thinking?
He said the thing.
He said the thing.
He said the thing.
Get this, man. 500 upvotes.
Updates to the left.
But yeah. I agree with you though that the torso transformation is very it's certainly clever how the arms tuck into the inside of the turret, but it just it definitely had trouble holding together.
Sometimes looks aren't everything.
Very sad.
Or you need a bit more than looks.
On the topic of Barricade, though, was I the only one who, as a kid, like I couldn't get the spring-loaded punch gimmick to stay like folded up?
Oh god, that thing operated on a hair trigger.
I was about to use the exact same word, hair trigger. It stays, but you just really have to work with it and baby it a little just to get it to stay.
Yeah, it seems like an odd addition to that toy. You'd think they would have given him his like I guess it's supposed to be like reminiscent of when he like smashes on the car with his arm, but you'd think a better gimmick to give him.
It's supposed to be like more reminiscent of that little flail saw.
Well, that was what I was going to say. The flail. They should have like. I think it would have been a better idea to give him the flail. But hey, I'm not a Hasbro designer.
Yeah. It's still. The guy's head didn't even turn, and he's still my favorite take on 07 Barricade.
Really, I quite like the DTOM version.
I don't know. He's just for me, the Dark of the Moon version falls down literally because he just can't support his own weight, and that's kind of an unforgivable sin, in my opinion. I can deal with very sensitive gimmicks. I can deal with limited posability, but I can't deal with a toy that can't stand up.
That's fair. I personally, I haven't fiddled with mine in ages, so maybe I'm entirely wrong, but like, I haven't had problems with mine standing up.
Maybe I just need to tighten the joints with some floor polish.
Also with Brawl, if you need to comb your hair, those mind plows come in very handy.
So what do y'all think about this is our first like repaint to talk about. What do y'all think about Recon Barricade there?
So Recon Barricade was actually the version I had as a kid. It's kind of funny because it's like the blue, the lighter color scheme almost makes it more The lighter gray and the blue almost make it look like one of the police cars we have around here, almost. Because we don't have like the cool black police cars around here. We have ours are like white, blue, and neon green.
Yeah, we get the checkered neon green and blue police cars. Although, actually, having said that, wasn't Barricade recolored with that deco?
I think that he was for DTOM, wasn't he? Or maybe I'm misremembering.
Either Revenge of the Fallen or Dark of the Moon.
Yeah. There was definitely a barricade in the Bongland color scheme.
Yeah, it was in Revenge of the Fallen as one of those like exclusive 2-packs, and there was a similarly colored Blaze Master as well.
Yes, I remember that one. I remember that one as well.
This is also. I honestly can't remember if Human Alliance does this as well, but this is the only mainline barricade that has the gimmick of Frenzy getting inside Barricade's chest.
Well, the on the Human Alliance figure, I think Frenzy can both pilot Barricade as well as store inside his chest. So that one has it all.
Yeah.
Not even the Masterpiece. Masterpiece doesn't even come with Frenzy.
No, he doesn't. There's no room inside Barricade on the Masterpiece though. So I guess I can't really blame it too much. But still, we didn't even get a minifigure in Studio Series.
And core class is dead, so what do we do now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy.
It's so over.
ID,
Yo,
just out of courtesy, for any of the toys that we've discussed prior, like the Legends, gimmick toys, Real Gear robots, and the Protoforms and Classic Chimera Bumblebee, do you have anything to say about any of those?
let me take a look at the PowerPoint real quick. Yep, okay. Because I'll be upfront and say I was indie. My experience is probably different from the rest of you all because I was in the target range to be a collector of this line, but I was also.
I think everyone here except Runestone was.
But the thing is, I was also 7, so like I didn't have much agency in what toys I could get at that time. But
I was like 6, dude.
Just quickly running through things. All right, let's make this really fast, okay? Yeah, out of like everything you guys are up to so far, the only toy I had out of all this that I can viscerally recall was Legends Class Jazz. And I have to say, he's a pretty alright guy. Like he did a job in entertaining me as a little 6-7-year-old. And
what did you think about him having the front of his car sticking out the top?
I paid no attention to it as a 7-year-old. I'm not gonna lie.
You didn't get irrationally angry and throw it across the room?
No. What do I look like? A modern day TFW user?
Ooh. It was also a contemporary TFW user. If you
that's
really
also,
nothing's changed.
I'm in no room to speak about that. I use TFW every once in a while. But wait, do I own any Real Gear? I'm thinking now, like as we're kind of as I'm catching up real quick. I don't have any Real Gear robots, but they're something I definitely see myself pining for, like at TFCon Baltimore when I go, because. Yeah, again, as far as I know, I don't own any. And Meantime does look pretty nice. I think that's his name, Meantime. Also, Booster. Like, they are some really nice looking. You guys have to give me some recommendations at some point.
I just want to say I love the name Meantime.
Oh, yeah, it's really
Meantime.
and he's a Decepticon watch.
Yeah, he's a Decepticon. He's called Meantime. I'm sorry, it's like a fucking He-Man name.
I can attest to it. As I collect He-Man, I can definitely say, yeah, sure, that checks out.
Anyway,
now that we've caught up, we should probably move on.
Yeah, we probably should.
Here we have Jazz and Final Battle Jazz with Scorponok. I don't out of these three toys, I have the molds, but I don't have the initial release of these. I don't have any of these versions. I have Revenge of the Fallen Smokescreen and Stalker Scorponok.
I had Jazz. I have Jazz. He was one of those figures I got as a kid. I didn't actually realize his back plate is supposed to come off and become a shoulder. All this time I didn't realize. I didn't know. I didn't look at the back of the package enough, I guess. I also didn't realize that was supposed to be a sword. I thought it was a gun.
That's because it looks like a gun.
Yeah,
Also,
it's telescoping sword.
It looks like a rifle.
it does. And when I was growing up, I used to watch Night/2020's stop motions all the time, and he used it as a gun. But if they called it a lance, I would get behind it. But it's not a sword.
I mean, it does come off. Bar Dragon, it does come off, but it doesn't come off in a way that you would think, okay, this is intended to come off. It just seems like it's like a normal friction connection.
Yeah. Yeah, it just comes off the friction joint. Scorponok is really a victim of this guy doesn't transform in the movie. We have to do something with him. And they just gave him the most nothing robot mode you could ever imagine.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what? You don't think he should have turned into a piece of a helicopter?
I will say, because this deluxe, I didn't own it myself, but I have very fond childhood memories of a classmate in elementary school having one. I have to say, man, like, for as much of a nothing burger as the Scorpion mode or the robot mode is, the Scorpion mode is really good. Like, I think it still looks pretty nice.
I mean,
this is pretty much a toy you buy for the Scorpion mode.
Oh yeah, like, no questions.
And the gimmicks. It's chock full of gimmicks.
yeah, I was gonna say the gimmicks are really what the gimmicks are really what make it. With the rolling gimmick is really cool.
And someone remind me, can't you like slap him onto Blackout who will?
Yeah, if you peg him into Blackout, if you use the rotor gimmick, it makes his claws spin.
Welcome back, Armada Cyclonus.
Can I just say, though, that as much of an afterthought as the Deluxe's robot mode is, they actually polished it quite a bit for the Legends class toy. It was more done in the style of Beast Wars Scorponok, and that is my favorite Legends class figure of the entire toy line.
Yeah, it looks great. Unfortunately, if I recall correctly, the rubber on the Legends class toy dries out and cracks.
So I heard.
Wait, Legend Scorponok has rubber?
Yeah, the tail.
Oh, of course. Yeah. For a second, I was like, "What? Does he have rubber wheels or something?"
No, but I believe it was Bolt Matrix who came up with this sort of fan mode where it turns into like this alien monster. That's how I keep my Stalker Scorponok displayed at all times.
I show that off in my video as well.
I think your video is where I first learned of it, because I sure as hell didn't watch Bolt Matrix back in the day.
Not for me, as far as I'm concerned, neither mold is particularly great for different reasons. Because, like we said, with Scorponok, robot mode's a bit of a joke, and the Jazz mold I'm not particularly fond of. Dumpy proportions; those forearms are terrible.
Yeah, the Jazz mold was one of 2007's biggest struggle sessions when it came to trying to adapt to the movie designs.
I will say the
on.
chest automorph is very cool, in my opinion.
It is.
The way it like segments and then collapses in on itself with like one automorph. That's pretty cool.
I will say also that the forearm transformation in concept is actually kind of clever and not something we see often. Like the parts of the hood are folding over to form the bulk of the arms. It sounds like a neat idea in theory, and it would take until Prime Sergeant Cut before they actually pulled it off.
Yeah, there's just no meat to his arms, so it's just origami, really.
Yeah, that's just what I was going to say. I feel like there needed to be some sort of structure inside the arms to make them at least feel more substantial.
Yeah, and the panels don't even lock together that well, so it
They
just
lock?
sort of it just sort of feels very ramshackle.
Yeah.
I think that might be because of how you have to open out the forearm in order for him to wield his weapons.
Yeah, that definitely doesn't help. While we're on the subject of Jazz, though, I would like to say how novel it is that he got a Final Battle redeco/remold. This sort of thing was frankly unprecedented when it came to Transformers, and unfortunately, this is the oldest common ancestor of the dead Ironhides you keep finding at Ross for $5.
I was just about to say this is like the first version of that concept.
Yeah, it all started here.
Boy.
And I bet back in 2007 this was a cool idea, even though he turned into a very pristine Pontiac still. But like, oh wow, he dies in the movie, so he gets this battle damage remold. That's so cool.
Also, in the UK Transformers movie tie-in comics, I remember this. In the UK tie-in comics, he comes back and he looks like this. As a semi-zombie. And that was like a story they ran in like the Transformers magazine, because I used to read the Transformers magazine in the UK.
And that version also comes with a new weapon, his crescent cannon.
I like how that's what everyone calls it. It's such a bomb-ass name. Rusty's trying to break my door down like fucking Freddy Fazbear. Shall we move on?
Yep.
All right, next up we have Bone Crusher with his repaint Jungle Bone Crusher, and our first non-movie character, Wreckage, though I will add the caveat that he was intended for the movie initially, but was cut.
Very sad.
I love both these molds.
Yeah. I had Jungle Bone Crusher. Very cool mold. For some reason, my brain didn't like the fact that, like, the
oh god, he's here! He's here! I have to run! No!
I didn't. For some reason, my childhood brain did not like the idea that the spare tires became became structural in robot mode. Because it's like the tires, how they come off. How can they be structural? But that's childhood brain. Yeah, cool mold. The arms extend out, and also it had a gimmick where the blades they were on this like hinge lever system, and they could pinch, and also they do not spin. The package is lying to you. They do not spin whatsoever. They have way too much friction for that.
I have the Hunt for the Decepticons repaint, and they can spin.
Really? Well,
yeah.
they can turn. They can't spin.
Where do you draw the line between those two things?
If you can push something and it keeps going slightly, then it spins. If you can turn something by manipulating it with your hand, then it turns.
That's probably the most autistic thing you've said on this show, but I'll allow it.
Really? That's the most autistic thing I've said on this show? Clearly, I'm not bringing my A game.
I know what quotes I'm going to use next.
10 years made you go soft, Char. What can I say?
Damn.
I'll just say that the Bone Crusher, both that and the Deluxe, that's my favorite figure of the whole line. He looks great and is just so playable.
Nice. I never clocked that the original has like very it's like he's wearing like khakis or something. He's got very like sandy beige legs compared to like everything torso up. I don't know if it's the lighting in the stock photo or not, but that's like the weirdest observation I've made now, I guess.
He's got a clan wolf color scheme for all my BattleTech friends.
He's also our really first introduction to the more alien aesthetic of the live action movie series, because he has these like four-toed claw feet surrounding the back tires, and wheel feet in general really come into their own in Revenge of the Fallen. And he also has these extending arms that were also supposed to show up in the movie, but were also cut. Like they were integrated into the on-screen design. And he's just this hulking monster. And that's why one of the scenes that stuck with me when I saw it the first time was him fighting Optimus under the overpass.
That was a great scene in the film. It also depicted exactly how I would react if I was a child and Transformers actually existed. Where they almost they almost get killed, and the kid's first reaction is to point out the cool robots.
You know that the funny thing about that Deluxe Bone Crusher, and I don't know if any of you have seen this, is that the American news network CNN used that toy to demonstrate how the Buffalo's mine-sweeping arm works. I think
Really?
I was actually considering bringing that up. Because it's like by far, I mean, obviously the actual like scoop is way too big compared to the like official one, but it was like, you know, the easiest model to get of this particular vehicle, so I don't blame them for using it for like, you know, instructional purposes.
This was on the news?
Yes. I can find it on YouTube if you
Could you? That's fucking hilarious.
Look on TF Wiki. Look under the notes for Bone Crusher, and you'll find like the the link to it.
I found it. Here it is. CNN.
Crusher saved lives.
The video is dated September 12th, 2007. So yeah, this was like during the height of the Iraq War. Yeah, yeah, BioDragon. Where else are you going to get a fairly accurate Buffalo model to demonstrate that?
I bet the comment section is just loaded about like Bone Crusher hating things.
Yeah, the top comment is he saves lives and he hates that. Megatron's going to be really, really angry when he sees this. I'd say that Bone Crusher is one of the greatest hits of the 2007 line, just because of how unique he is and how successful he is at not only being a good toy but also a good representation of his design
and a good educational tool, apparently.
Yeah. It really hits that balance.
Though in terms of great toys, Wreckage is also a good second.
Oh yes, he might even be above Bone Crusher.
Wreckage is. I only got Wreckage at the last TF Nation. Great toy, really like him. Probably one of my favorite molds of 2007 period.
Yes, he has that Arctic camo color scheme that I'm just super weak for.
Yeah. It's something you don't really see very often.
No, the only other toy I can think of is Bakan Flak.
This toy doesn't have an Arctic camo per se, but Energon Landquake also has like an Arctic themed color scheme.
Yeah. Maybe Arctic camo wasn't the right word. Maybe I should have said urban camo.
I think that's more about right.
Yeah, because it does turn into an APC.
Maybe winter camo might be more accurate.
Maybe. It could work in both scenarios, I guess.
It's specifically an M 1126 Striker infantry carrier vehicle.
And Striker with a Y and well, I guess Striker always has a K. But with Striker with a Y was supposed to be this character's name should he have appeared in the film. There was concept art and everything.
I always assumed it would have been Wreckage. Like, I knew about the whole, he was supposed to be in the movie. Did he get replaced with someone? I'm trying to remember.
No, he was just straight up cut.
Okay.
It was RC who was replaced with Ironhide.
Wow. That would be a slightly different world.
Though, now that I think about it, maybe Striker was just a temporary working name. But
It would
at the same time,
been...
at the same time, everyone else already had their final names, so maybe
it would have been funny.
Striker.
It would have been funny if a character that had its origins in Beast Machines became a character from the movieverse.
Striker.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say against Wreckage, and it's a problem that he shares with Reveal the Shield Jazz, is that when you try to pose the arms, it's very easy for the the chest to fall back up and activate the automorph surrounding that.
Oh, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. So I actually got Wreckage very recent. I picked them up for $15 at TFCon LA. Really good toy, right? But that is kind of a fatal flaw. I wish there was even a small clip or something to hold
like a little detent or something to keep the torso in place. Yeah, because otherwise it just doesn't hold in place at all.
Yeah, no, it's the only thing that holds him back from being genuinely perfect. He is insanely modern for his time, but he still is very fun as just a toy,
Yeah, it's also criminal just that, as far as I know, he's only been repainted once.
Yeah, no real no Autobot repaint or anything, just Wreckage and Bludgeon. Bludgeon's great. I got to actually mess with Bludgeon at TFCon too, so I've handled both versions of him now. But
he only got repainted once, and he got overshadowed as the not accurate version of Bludgeon from RTF.
Even though he's accurate to the inner robot.
Yeah, I know.
If you guys remember, I guess tidbit now. If you guys remember Transformers Cloud from about it's been 10 years. It's a 9-year-old line now from Takara.
Yeah.
One of the other pitches Hayato Sakamoto put in for a e-hobby exclusive line of repaints was it was called Transformers Part 1 or Chapter 1 or something, and it was going to be a bunch of classic G1 characters and just from random UT and early
Optimus Prime from ROTF Rollbar.
And one of them was going to be Megatron from Wreckage, if I remember correctly. And it was shoot, man, that was perfect. Disgustingly perfect,
You should do a custom.
Shoot, man, I wouldn't say no.
You should do a quote-unquote box set of Transformers Chapter 1.
Yeah, shoot, you're kind of tempting me. And plus, it's not I think all but one or two of them were going to have new heads and that. Like I said, it was going to be a very, very repaint heavy line, nothing more.
Yeah.
Shit, it does kind of sting to me. So, shoot, I might have to think about it now.
I'm trying to look up Transformers Chapter 1, but unfortunately Transformers Chapter 1 is an incredibly vague search term that gives me a lot of results.
If you go to TF Wiki and just search up Transformers Cloud, go to the notes tab, you'll see the other free pitches that Sakamoto put in with Takara. It was Transformers Part 1 or whatever it was called, Shattered Glass Prime, and then Brave Masters, and then Transformers Cloud, which ended up getting the one to get the go-ahead.
Yeah, Wreckage is, I keep saying this, Wreckage is just really cool. I like the stomach gun that he gets as a result of his automorph. I like the fact that his swords can combine, Darth Maul style.
They can?
Yeah, it's not in the instructions.
Hold on. Can. I have to grab my
record. Yeah, they can.
Wait, what?
Wait, that's not in the instructions?
No, it's a undocumented feature.
Wow. Yeah, and also you can tab them onto the wheels and have them spin around Grievous style.
Yeah.
That's really weird because they're very obviously designed to be able to do that, and quite frankly, in my opinion, they don't look complete separate. They look finished when you tab them together.
I have grabbed my Wreckage. I'm about to figure out how to make this work because I did not know about this. I'm being completely honest.
Also, I really like the idea of
Oh
hot
my
rod.
god, that's it! Wow, that's so sick.
Yeah,
That's really cool. What the heck? This is awesome.
Have we mentioned how awesome this toy is yet?
Oh yeah, that's kind of how I have to display them now, dude. This is insane. This is awesome.
yeah.
God, yeah. God, that's so sick.
New toy discoveries at the School of Athenia.
I won't lie. I'm probably gonna mention this with some of the other guys that I assume we'll be covering, but I do. It's never gonna happen because 86 and whatever. But I would love to see Wreckage revisit the series like really badly because I think he can technically be a concept. Whatever.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He could be a concept. He could be like a concept art toy line character.
Because again, I think his toy is
because he does have concept art.
Yeah,
his toy is so close to being perfect. I genuinely think if they could like find a way to kind of handle some of the bolt-on defies a little bit cleaner, and just add some articulation. Because again, this guy's like wrists and ankle tilts and a waist, and he's like I said, he's crazy.
I mean, quite frankly, I don't think we even if he didn't have concept art, I don't think that's really a requirement. Considering like a bunch of the Bumblebee movie concept art characters were just stuff they made up for the toy line as well. So
that is.
And I'm not making a moral judgment about that or anything. I'm just saying that's the case.
Yeah, anything could go, really. Shall we move on to the next wave?
I'm ready.
All right. Next, we begin our look at the drones. Many of
Yes.
these designs from the Transformers 2007 video game. On the left, we see Dreadwing with his repaint Overcast, and on the right, we have Swindle with his repaint Camshaft. Who is an Autobot? The rest of these are Decepticons.
I like Dreadwing. I think Dreadwing is really novel in his transformation, and he's also one of the cleanest jet formers around. Definitely for his time, he was.
Yeah, he's very interesting. He does the Armada thrust thing where he has the nose cone head and the thruster hands. And they can open up to be actual hands. Well, I mean, you have to suspend your disbelief a little bit, but hands are hands.
Also, interestingly, he's a Russian jet.
Yes.
It escapes me which particular one, but he is very much a Russian jet. You can tell from the way he's shaped, and the way the wings are.
The jet is apparently the MiG-29 Fulcrum.
Yeah, tracks.
Yeah, Char had to double check because people on TF Wiki don't know shit about vehicles.
Yeah, that's a problem I have where like TF Wiki will list like a certain jet mode or a certain vehicle mode, and it's like not even slightly close. Usually on characters.
My blood will never not boil when I remember the person who described Mirage in Rise of the Beast turning into an F1 dragster.
Oof.
I'd be lying Sorry, go on, Char.
I was just going to say that the problem with identifying Dreadwing's alt mode is that Russia has so many jet fighters that all kind of have the same sort of silhouette that it's difficult to narrow it down to a specific one when you're already having to deal with the fact that the toy is being abstracted for being a toy rather than a model.
Yeah, they didn't get any license for it. As you can see, it just has fighter jet mode. If it was licensed, it would have said.
Because sure, it could be a MiG-29, it could be an Su-27, an Su-34, an Su-35, because they all just kind of look the same.
Oh, here's Char bringing his A game.
Okay.
I'd be lying if I said that I was a big fan of the Dreadwing mold, mainly because his lower body is incredibly undersized, and
He's he has jet mode and goblin mode.
Yeah, the way his just that entire jet canopy and nose cone hanging off the back of his head, it looks so dumb. Like they should have found a way to. I mean, maybe if this was a Voyager, they could have found a way to collapse it all.
Maybe, yeah. Though that is the way. Isn't that the way the design is in the video game as well?
I'm not sure, but it sure is how reminiscent of the G1 Seeker toy.
That is true.
They polished this design in the comics, I believe. And as a result of his body being undersized, he's also kind of top heavy.
Yeah, he is a bit of a doodle to stand up, but at least you can prop him up on those long missiles. I gotta say though, I have Dreadwing and I like Dreadwing, but I really want to get Overcast because those colors. He's like G2 drag strip.
Oh,
something.
I can kind of see it. And then there's the one. I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself, but there's the one from Revenge of the Fallen.
Yes.
Oh yes,
Swoop.
Fear Swoop.
Fear Swoop, but not hooligan, but looks like hooligan. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
If there's one version of the mold I want, it's that. Sure.
Also, man, they really cleaned up that design for the comic books. They made him buff.
I would be somewhat okay if they just repainted this mold into every Cyberjet ever.
Yeah, no, seriously, like again, Fear Swoop looks awesome, man. That's the one I gotta get if I ever feel the need to get the mold.
Yeah. And on the other side of the aisle here, we have Swindle, who is a red car. And honestly, if Dreadwing takes a lot of his inspiration from Armada Thrust, then Swindle here seems to take a lot of inspiration from the concurrent Avio Swerve. They have very similar design choices, like the placement. The what?
Was it actually concurrent? I always assumed Swerve was
vaguely. I mean, it looks like they came around the same time ish. Like I'm pretty sure Avio Swerve came out in 07. Some say 08, some say 07. I can't really tell. It's very muddy.
It's a very muddy figure, so I'm not even going to act like there is a definitive.
But if I recall correctly, both toys were designed by the same person.
Oh,
so it feels like they're related. It very much feels like they're related.
It's certainly an interesting toy. I wouldn't say it's a toy I wouldn't say it's a good toy. I mean, good toy is subjective.
Can't pose for worth anything.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get him to look cool.
Yeah, he is not. He is. You know what he looks like to me? He's like if a droid from Star Wars was a Transformer. That's the vibe he gives me.
I see it.
I mean, I see all of these like faceless guys, and they all do give me like prequel trilogy pit droid vibes. So like, I completely get where you're coming from.
I do want to bring up.
Oh, go ahead, Rune.
I was just going to say that I do want to bring up the fact that, like you said, Kit, these are based off the drone units from the video games, and the Dreadwing, Swindle, and another mod we'll be talking about down the line all sport the Decepticon head, which is just the lens. But there was an Autobot version as well, who will be showing up on an entirely different figure altogether.
Yeah, not to beat around the bush, Dropkick does feature the Autobot head, and he's a Decepticon, whereas Camshaft here is an Autobot who sports the Decepticon head. They didn't bother retooling it.
Yeah, I mean, they're Genericons, and like the only reason they'd retool is for it to be more accurate to a video game that most people probably wouldn't even know about. So I can see why they didn't make the decision to do that. But also, Camshaft was the one I had as a kid.
The mold's gimmick is kind of amusing, though.
Yeah, the chest gun, or belly gun, rather.
I remember when I was like 9, I stole your joke about having the belly gun be like 3 centimeters lower, and my parents were just so tickled by it. They thought it was so funny. They thought I was so clever. And
the thing is, unlike Dreadwing. As far as I know, Swindle just had the one redeco into camshaft. Surprisingly, not into Erector.
Oh, that's what you were going to call Rector.
I get it now.
I thought you were going to be way more sensible. I thought you were going to be way more sensible and talk about how the yellow mudflap repaint wasn't Erector.
It was supposed to be.
But it's a Decepticon.
Well, it's still supposed to be Erector.
Did he get mad about his name and switch sides?
Apparently, Swindle's vehicle mode. Admittedly, this is another TF Wiki thing, but apparently it's inspired by the Chevrolet Cobalt.
Yeah, I can see it. I was thinking an Impala myself, but you know they all sort of look the same. It's definitely a Chevy. The grill shape says Chevy. Yeah, I can see it. I'm not going to argue. But yeah, this is a very weird toy. The joints are all weird. He can't stand. He stands very funnily.
He's not particularly solid either.
No, he's very shaky.
This is a design I wouldn't mind seeing in the Gamer Edition down the line.
Oh yeah, I'd love to see another take on this.
No, again, it would be pretty. Again, it would be really cool to see it just with a modern sense of engineering and whatnot.
Maybe with some more solid proportions.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, in this hypothetical for the Dreadwing mold, it would be a shame if he didn't come with sick new blast effects to replicate the missiles and stuff.
You know what might have been cool? Might be cool if they made these as Gamer Edition figures. If they made swappable faces so they could be the Autobottle Decepticon versions.
Oh, that would be.
Oh yeah.
That would be kind of a game changer for army builders. Oh, that's insanely cool, actually.
Because I mean, Hasbro have already started experiment. Dude, this could be the new army builder set. Because they've already made one in Legacy.
Yeah, and they're kind of doing one next year.
And that set had swappable heads for each of the characters. Why? It's a money printer.
That's if they made that's if they made the molds good, which is a dice roll.
That is true. Still, let's move on to. I was expecting Payload to be on this slide, but I guess he comes later in the line. Here we have RC with the concept Camaro Bumblebee with his repaints, Cliff Jumper, and Stealth Bumblebee, I believe. RC was also supposed to be in the film. As I mentioned earlier, she was cut in favor of Ironhide. I think part of the reason was because they didn't feel like explaining female Transformers, and part of the reason because she would be very small.
Are you spray painting right now?
I may or may not be. Sorry.
Can't believe you. You're airbrushing right now.
Workaholic.
Put down.
Hey, I'm just saying. You'll see it when it's done. It's very thematic to today's episode. I do not jest.
All right. Yeah, I had RC as a kid. RC is a weird one because I can never get the because of course the wheel halves they didn't tab in anywhere in robot mode.
No.
So they would just flop around all over the place. Honestly, the whole figure, in my opinion, was very floppy. That was not floppy, but it wasn't. It was certainly not a solid figure.
Yeah. I would hesitate to call. I'd want to call it a more refined version of the Energon mold, but it hasn't been refined that well. No.
The Energon mold is one I would like to have, though.
It's okay.
It's neat. Also, I'm on a big UT kick lately.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
Bumblebee, however, I distinctly remember getting this one in the mail from one of my grandparents, and I treated it so poorly. It was one of my favorite toys, and it was scuffed up. I lost a piece. The ball joints got super loose. I heavily played with my toy, and I ended up selling it a few years ago just because it was in such bad shape, and I ended up replacing it not only with a new version of this one, but I also got the Revenge of the Fallen retool, the preview wave one. It is a phenomenal toy, and it has still by far the best Bumblebee movie versus Bumblebee transformation. The torso automorph is simply sublime. It doesn't work quite as well on my copy of Cliffjumper, I believe, but it's so well thought out, and he has such little kibble. Like, everything's so well integrated into his design. It's a phenomenal piece of toy.
Besides the roof on the arms,
it's a natural trade-off, and it's honestly a bit less bulky than some other Bumblebees I can think of.
Also, I feel like it might be a universal memory for Transformers fans from the early 2000s of using the arm kibble as blades.
Yeah, we were all probably inspired by Jazz Has a General Problem, where
oh yeah, for sure.
the General Lee had similar kibble on his arms, and he used it to decapitate Jazz.
I think the General Lee was a custom from that Bumblebee toy, actually.
Yeah, it was like part Gundam, part Bumblebee, part model kit, like car model kit. Definitely couldn't transform.
Yeah, absolutely. It was like a kit bash.
Yeah, I remember watching the behind the scenes of that video, and it was so impressive.
Mm-hmm. Wonder where that guy is today.
I don't know. I don't know where Runestone went.
I'm right here. I was just letting you two have the floor because I don't. Oh, ID's dropped out.
Probably something to do with his internet.
Anyway, like I said, I don't really have much to say about these two other than they're just both solid toys. Of course, the thing I'll say about that RC is that he's not the only one who essentially refined or polished up the Energon RC transformation. The other toy being the Marvel crossover Spider-Man, the motorcycle.
Should have brought that up last month.
Well, I'm bringing it up now.
Oh no, whatever will I do?
I always thought the gun that he had was funny because it was sculpted to be to look like Bumblebee's arm blaster, but obviously it was handheld, and it had the gimmick where it would fold open and reveal the sword.
It's a cool ass accessory.
It's fun.
And when you open it up, the blade extends out. I love that.
That was the coolest bit on it. Yeah.
This toy has like 3 different automorphs, counting the accessory. It was really going for exhibiting that gimmick.
Yeah. They really went for the automorphs in this toy line, actually.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's because they were switching from having like spring-loaded gimmicks with Cybertron and the rest of the Unicorn trilogy, and like, well, we have all of these parts now, and we don't really know what to do with them, so why don't we make geared mechanisms from them?
Well, a lot of these toys still had spring-loaded gimmicks. Like RC here has a firing missile. You have Starscream with 6 of those. It's more that they wanted to recreate the look of transforming in the movie, where you see like all of these parts moving at the exact same time. They wanted to recreate that by making automorph.
Well,
that was the major line-wide gimmick.
That's pretty cool, actually. I didn't know that was the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, and they'd sort of iterate on that with Mech Alive in Revenge of the Fallen, where as they move around, you see pieces of them swivel
around inside of them and like sort of adjust. Yeah, that was a cool gimmick.
Yeah, it was a way for them, even though the toys didn't necessarily look like the guys in the movie, they felt like the guys in the movie.
Yeah, I get
So
what you're talking about.
Yeah. It was a really, really good gimmick. And then they had a neck tech. Ugh.
Yes.
Can I just say, by the way, that Bumblebee's head sculpt looks horrifying in red?
It's just a little bland, I think.
He's got that Red Skull vibe going on.
He's been skinned alive.
He's called Meat Bee.
Bumble meat.
The stealth Bumblebee looks pretty cool as well.
It does, and it features Bumblebee's battle mask being deployed as a separate head sculpt.
I remember wanting that one as a kid because I always preferred the battle mask head sculpt.
Yeah. It's really cool.
ID says he's back in the chat, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I didn't notice. Here we are. IdArmed, what do you think about Bumblebee?
Sorry about that. Of course, when my charger's not with me, my computer decides to run out of battery in like 20 minutes. Bumblebee, I didn't own him as a kid, but I definitely wish I owned him. But in retrospect, I think Cliffjumper is the coolest looking version of the mold. I know you guys are just like, I know as I joined back that like you guys were talking about how he looks like disgusting and fleshy and stuff, but I just really like those.
I never said he looked bad.
No, we're talking about like Cliffjumper specifically.
Right. We're talking about. Wait, I'm confused now.
Yeah, because we were talking about how Cliffjumper's gecko looks like his head sculpt looks like a flayed skull or something in red.
No, it does. But honestly, like I just really like the card deco. The silver stripes with the black border. That's good. Man,
Yeah.
it's really nice looking. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I again, this is like another thing where it's like, shoot, I wish they could just like stick it in Studio Series because that Camaro B mold from Studio Series is pretty alright, but I think I'd like it in a more out there deco like this. But when is that ever gonna happen?
I would have more of that mold if it was different characters instead of just Bumblebee every time.
Just Bumblebee from a different movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, something I've noticed with the movie lines is they kind of moved away from repaints being different characters and more towards repaints being variants of the same character.
Oh yeah, I feel like you definitely see it right into the next movie, right? Like,
yeah, Revenge of the Fallen had a nice balance between because they had a lot of new character repaints, but it was Revenge of the Fallen and especially Dark of the Moon that really got into it.
I think it's after like getting into the films instead of the Toyline, or how the film correlates with the Toyline. I think it's after how 07 turned out to be a pretty sizable hit that they were like, oh, people actually kind of want these characters specifically, and let's just start pumping out repaints of them.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of at least my observation of how the shift happened. And I feel like it peaked at Dark of the Moon with like the the Bumblebee shells and everything you've seen. I'm sure you've all seen.
We were there.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. The beehives. I remember witnessing beehives firsthand as a kid, wanting to find like different figures, but all I could find was fucking Bumblebee.
No Jolt for you or whoever you were looking for.
No, I had Jolt as a kid.
Oh, okay, you had Jolt,
which apparently is rare.
I ended up getting him in the between line. Anyway, we should definitely move on. Here we have some more original characters. Long Arm, based off of the tow truck which Michaela drove Bumblebee's wounded self around at the end of the film, and Payload, who is another video game exclusive design. Long Arm here is one of the first toys that we're talking about that are based on vehicles that were specifically in the film, but weren't like from anything else. They were just
he was there. He was just being lazy.
He was there the whole time.
He was that truck. He just couldn't be asked.
Man,
he wasn't pulling his weight.
Long Arm wasn't one I owned as a kid, but he just looked.
Long
so
Arm
cool.
was one I owned as a kid, and I have it still, and it's one of my favorite 07 movie toys.
He reminds me like
I
he
owned
holds up really well. My bad.
I owned Long Arm, but I broke him and ended up selling him off, and he's one that I really need to get a new version of. A new copy.
Long Arm is very cool.
The part of him that sticks the most out to me is that one diorama thing that when they were doing those diorama things like after the movie came out. And
you know what's funny about that? They did two different versions of that diorama.
Really?
Yeah, they did one that came with like a full Bumblebee toy, where the diorama is him towing Bumblebee in vehicle mode, and then they did another one which was the Long Arm toy, and then it comes with a statue of Bumblebee with his legs blown off.
Yeah, the statue one is the one I viscerally remember, like back in the day, and it's
the other one is the one the one with the whole Bumblebee toy is the one I remember seeing on shelves as a kid.
And the thing that always strikes me about like characters like Long Arm or Wreckage, and I think it owes to them. I don't know if Long Arm was one to have concept art. I doubt it, but like
I don't think he was.
I'm surprised how like simple these guys look, at least obviously compared to the ILM models and stuff, but like they have such a I don't know what the right word to use is. Dare I say they feel very like UT-ish? I mean, like obviously same team, same era and stuff, but like I think just like how we had that discussion last week about Power Core Combiners aesthetic, certain characters, like specifically to me, Long Arm and Wreckage feel very evergreen, I guess. Or like you can stick them anywhere and it's like, oh, that makes sense for them. I feel like Wreckage more so, but I look at Long Arm and I'm like, that honestly looks like he could just fit in anywhere.
And bonus points for style with all that diamond plating on his torso.
It's such a thick look. If I ever get my hands on one, I'm gonna probably paint it in like a very silvery silver, just to, like make it look really nice.
One thing that I found, like not so much, kind of confounded me as a kid, was the fact that he couldn't remove his gun from one of his hands.
You can't?
You can't. No.
Oh, wow.
It's screwed in.
Yeah, to his right hand.
About that, the reason I broke mine was because I unscrewed the gun from the hand, and how I broke it was I had the hand out of its ball socket, and so I tried screwing the gun back in, and then I tried putting the hand back into the socket, and somehow my pressure was wrong, and I just broke the block that
oh my god
connected to his hand. Like it was just a block stuck to his hand, and then the rest of the gun. Luckily, that can peg into his other hand, so he can still hold the gun. But this made his transformation a lot more difficult to line up because the gun only locked in on one side. So,
well, now I know what not to do if I ever.
And it makes a very substantial chunk of the alt mode.
Yeah,
so I think that's why it's screwed in, just so that you don't lose it. Because if another character loses its gun, it's probably not a big deal. But with this one, you ruin the whole alt mode.
Yeah, he's just a truck. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's a truck, but also it makes up a significant portion of the truck bed. I get what Kit's saying.
Yeah, so it's probably for the best.
One thing about this toy as well is as a kid, I could never get the light bar to sit correctly. Like you can see in the promo shot, it sits like way too high above the roof of the truck, and that never looked good to me. So I was always like tweaking it.
Yeah, and there's no locking place for it anyway.
Yeah, there's nowhere for it to lock, so there's no like definitive position for it.
Yeah. But going from one of the stronger toys of the line to one of the weakest, let's talk about Payload a little bit. The guy who can't even stay together.
Actually, but before you do, I and this is something of a nice segue, I guess. I also want to bring up the fact that Long Arm is actually another of the drone units from the game.
Oh, is he?
But he doesn't have either the Autobot or Decepticon head sculpt. He has one of his own.
Like the toy?
Yeah, the toy.
Oh, I had no idea he was in the game.
Yeah, no, me neither. I always thought he was just, like Kit said, one of the random vehicles from the movie they just made a toy of. I did not know he was in that, actually, at all.
Gamer Edition long arm, anyone?
Please.
Oh yeah.
But I think Payload might need a little more because his original toy is rough. It has a very, very unique transformation. I love the transformation, but the grill pops off all the time, and the platform the head sits on pops off all the time.
Yeah, I wondered if that was just me.
No, it as far as I knew, it was endemic to the toy. Every
Yeah,
review that
I
I've seen of it mentions it.
I do recall like the grill falling off, and I think in Bot Matrix's review, the center portion of the claw piece also
Yes,
comes off
yes,
as well.
that does too.
I think part of the problem is that or at least maybe, yeah. A small part of the problem is like the claw doesn't even close all the way. It just kind of closes like 2/3 of the way. So you can't even really capture anything in that claw.
The claw.
The claw!
And it's probably one of the most awkward designs, too. It's very dumpy, and it doesn't even look that strong, so you can't even call him the muscle of the group.
I mean, it's funny. He is one that I wanted because he seems quite unique.
He is unique.
But
He's
he's very awkward in the way that he's unique.
He's one of my least favorite toys from this line.
I mean, I like him well enough. He's probably my favorite of the three drones, but he is still fairly problematic in his own right.
Yeah. Ooh, if that's everything we have to say on Payload.
Also, like, sorry, he did get a retool many years down the line into Dispensor.
Oh, yeah. How come we
Yeah, I
forget?
remember that.
Lost Age Dispensor, yeah. It's probably one of the cleverest mold reuses ever. Because they have the vending machine like tampographed on the roof of the truck. So if you stand him up on its end, it looks like a vending machine, sort of.
The illusion's kind of tenuous, but it's a clever reuse, but nonetheless.
Moving right along, we have Dropkick with his repaint salvage. This design also from the video games. And we have another character pulled straight from the vehicles used in the film, Landmine. And he looks like our first introduction to the Allspark Power subline.
Okay. I had Salvage. Salvage is kind of funny because I always thought he was like, as a kid, I thought he was like somehow related to Optimus Prime because the way he looks, he has like the antennae and the chest windows and the grill abs, but just like less so.
Yeah.
Salvage's deco is actually based on the pickup truck from the American sitcom Sanford and Son, because it's red and has Sparkplug and Son Salvage printed each side.
That's pretty cute. I
did not know that.
Yeah, no,
That's neat.
That's a deep cut. Speaking as a 23-year-old man, and not a 40 to 50 something.
But of course, Dropkick mogs him in the deco department, given that his entire top side is the Decepticon symbol.
Yeah.
Yeah, this Dropkick and Reveal the Shield Strafe weren't exactly subtle about their allegiances, were they?
Oh, I forgot if it was. No, I think it was.
He's Megatron's strongest soldier.
I got a minute to fiddle with. I don't think it was this. I think it was Revenge of the Fallen Blowpipe at TFCon Baltimore a couple of years back, 2021 out. Yeah, 2020.
I have that one. I also have Dropkick, but I have that one too.
Yeah, not a bad mold, for its kind of like.
It's supposed to be pipes.
Is that? Are you telling me they couldn't get the copyright for the word pipes, or? That's the implication.
He's supposed to be pipes. His license plate says pipes.
Just name it. I mean, blowpipe's a cool name too. Don't get me twisted. But it's just like I feel like you should have just named it pipes. But like, what do I know?
I will say, the deco on what was the blue one called again?
Blowpipe.
What for the?
I mean,
for this mold, for the mold we're looking at right now.
Yeah, the blue one's blowpipe, the red one's salvage, and the purple one's dropkick.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna say,
dropkick. That was it.
I guess dropkick is purple. I don't know if that's mine, but
the deco for dropkick here feels a lot more appropriate for the mold because, in my opinion, it does not look like a salvage truck. It does not look like a work truck. It looks like someone's tuned up truck. With the bumper very low to the ground, and the spoiler covering the I don't know truck names. The bed, yeah, the spoiler on the bed. I feel like the deco looks very much more. The deco gives the vehicle mode a very different flavor.
Though to be fair, if you sorry, I'm yawning. If you remove the accessory, he has a fully functional tailgate. So
I'm aware. It's just it's kind of cool how like both decos are very, very different, but they work. But like the addition and subtraction of that one accessory basically changes the entire flavor of the alt mode.
Yeah,
because it goes from being a work truck to a tuner truck.
And then the fucking accessory just turns into a big cheap pair of pliers.
Yeah. And the pliers actually work if you turn the little screw. That's great.
Yeah. Moving on to Landmine, this is one toy that I actually have reviewed fairly early on in my channel's history. And it is simply fantastic. It's he turns into the Sector 7 buggies that appear at the end of the movie. And he has a very simple transformation, but what he does besides that is still pretty neat. He has functioning shock suspension. His hands turn into the seats. He has a molded steering wheel. He has a articulated gun. And it's just really cool. And so like the rear tires form his heels in robot mode, and the gas tanks he's carrying on the back have wheels in them as well. So like you can pretend to roll them around on your desk.
Yeah, he's got a little roller skate, so I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
I think the working suspension is my favorite feature about this toy. They didn't need to add that, but it adds like a whole extra layer to it, in my opinion.
That's crazy for a deluxe, like of any time period. I can't think of many Transformers before or after it to have like freaking shock absorbers. That's crazy.
Yeah. And pretty much a full interior as well. With the way the hands form the feet, the hands form the seats in the truck or the buggy mode, and I'm pretty sure it has a full dash, doesn't it?
Yes. Well, it's a very vaguely sculpted one, but there is a steering wheel at least. I have both of this and the Dark of the Moon repaint Commodore, and Runestone also has Revenge of the Fallen Armor Hide, and he's reviewed that one pretty recently.
Okay. I was trying to remember who the last one was, and it's Armor.
Honestly, Armor Hide might be my least favorite use of the mold, just because the color scheme's a bit like nondescript compared to the other two.
Which is your favorite out of the two you do own? Is it Commodore?
Probably Commodore, because it tries to turn it into a lunar rover.
A lunar rover with a grenade launcher.
Yeah.
Hey, we don't know
that thing can shoot so far. But yeah, we are
Landmine
past.
is a must.
We are a bit past the 2-hour mark on this, and I know we're like probably 2/3 of the way through the slideshow, but I think we should probably quicken the pace just a little bit.
Yeah,
All right.
go for it.
We just have one more slide of Deluxe class to go through, and it's our last new mold, Stockade. And we also have some time to talk about the various repaints, store exclusives, and all premium edition and Allspark Power sublines. Stockade is honestly probably, I don't mean this derogatorily or anything, but I would consider Stockade like the most mid mold out of 2007. Like it's like dead average, you know?
I really like the punching gimmick this toy had.
It's cool, but it's not. There's not a whole lot of substance to it.
I mean, he's just a guy. He's just a goon.
Yeah. Most of his appeal is that he turns into the Cadillac Escalades that Sector 7 use.
Oh, yeah, that's the car he is, right? Okay, right. How could I forget?
I will say though that the way he transforms actually plays into one of my favorite redecos of all time, or at least within the movie toy lines, Revenge of the Fallen Gears, because
Right, that's his.
he starts off with just a fairly it's just a silver vehicle with gear patterns on the chassis, and then he transforms and positively explodes in color. Like his deco in robot mode is basically loosely inspired by, well, who else? Generation 1 Gears. And I just really like
he
him.
has a lot of blue and burgundy.
Yeah, Gears is the one I had, and I like Gears. Since we're talking about exclusives, is this where I get to talk about the Unicron trilogy repaints?
Those come later. We mentioned those later.
Okay.
Yeah. These are the repaints of the new molds. Like we have G1 repaints of RC and Jazz, premium editions such as Barricade shown here, but there were others like Jazz and Bumblebee, and also Allspark repaints. I'm not too very well versed on those, but you know, Brawl's there.
I didn't own any of those, so I can't really speak on any of them. I don't really have any particular opinions. I suppose the G1 style repaints were neat.
I do like the way that Jazz looks in alt mode with the G1 color scheme, the Martini livery.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. It's nice.
And that's also the one that I grew up watching on Night/2020's channel.
That's the one I remember from Prowl has a general problem.
Jazz
has a general problem. I'm retarded.
What was I about to go on about? I'm gonna keep it completely on. I'm being completely honest, guys. When I say this, I did not know that RC repaint existed, or at least I've never seen the bike mode on that one.
I'm not really sure what it was exclusive to. I honestly can't remember, but it definitely wasn't mainline.
No, that I definitely know that for sure. But I know it's an exclusive to somewhere.
I think it might have been a Japanese exclusive or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They had a couple of those. There was like a black one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks really nice on those colors, honestly.
Yeah. And they did the premium series and the Allspark Power series to sort of just get more toys on the shelves because like stores had a really, really hard time keeping this toy line in stock because everyone was buying it. This was like probably the most best-selling Transformers toy line ever since probably G1. And you know, the premium series, their whole shtick was far more movie accurate color schemes, far more like the paint budget was like doubled for each toy. As you can see, Barricade has like painted windows and everything when on the toy they were just, you know, whatever color the plastic was. I only have one premium edition toy and it's Blackout, so I guess I'll talk about him later. But
I gotta say though that from what I understand, Jazz is leagues above his original release.
Yeah, the silver paint. Oh my goodness.
By the way, that RC redeco apparently it was released as part of the Wanda Festival 2008 winter event in Tokyo, Japan.
That's sick. Okay. Thank you for the heads up. Like I said, completely unfamiliar to me at least, so I'm glad I know where it's from now. Again, Mole looks pretty nice in those colors.
I don't think we have much else to say, so
Yeah,
shall we crack on?
I'm ready to move on. And I think from the sounds of it, everyone else is.
All right, that brings a wrap to Deluxe class. And next, we have Voyager class, which I think we only have like 4 slides for. The first one, we have Blackout with his repaint Edak, and Ratchet with his repaint Rescue Ratchet, who is another G1 color scheme. This time, actually, mainline.
So I had both of the I had both of these toolings as a kid. Sorry, you were gonna say, Kit?
Yeah, like I just mentioned, I have the premium repaint of Blackout. He's a much duller blue, and he has a lot more military markings, and his Scorponok actually looks like he does in the movie. This mold, because I have both it and Revenge of the Fallen Grindor, and they have this really bad problem with the automorph where the middle piece of the cockpit is just misaligned on both of them.
Oh, yeah.
I've tried fixing them a couple times, but I haven't been able to get it quite right. But it just sucks that both versions of the toy had the problem.
This toy, I remember this toy distinctly was the one I wanted the most when I left the theater in 2007, when I saw Transformers the movie the first time, because he just made such a big impact for me in that first scene in the movie.
Yeah, I had shivers up my spine when he transformed for the first time.
Yeah. Wow. Wait.
There's your quote, Runestone.
I have 2 for this episode now. Sorry, transforming noises. Yeah. I would be lying. I probably did like this toy as a kid, because I played with it so much. In hindsight, I kind of feel like it's not my favorite movie mold, really. It didn't feel as big as it should have been.
Oh, that's fair.
As far as Ratchet's concerned, I have zero exposure to it, so I'll let y'all talk about it.
I had Rescue Ratchet as a kid. He was neat. He was neat. His arms come off really easily. Like his lower arms come off really easily because they're just attached with little with like friction pegs. And I could never figure out what his left hand is actually supposed to transform into. It's just like a fan of some sort.
I think it's supposed to be an axe.
I think I'm a Bob. Oh, okay, that also works. All right. Before I go on about Blackout, I'll say I actually saw Ratchet in person for the first time, like recently as an adult who can remember things. I saw him at my toy shop. It was the premium one, very metallic, right? That thing is huge. Like, it feels bigger than Blackout is, and I wouldn't be surprised if it turned out to be bigger than Blackout.
I mean, Blackout is tiny.
Yeah, Blackout is like really small.
I have to say, though, I honestly really prefer how 07 Blackout looks compared to, like, every other Blackout, because, I'm sorry, I'm talking about Ratchet, not Blackout. Ratchet. I prefer how this Ratchet looks compared to every other new mold of Ratchet, just because, like, I know it's more movie accurate, but all of the new Ratchets are just so lanky. And I like that this big-ass box of a Hummer turns into a big-ass box of a robot. I prefer it. I prefer it.
He's a chunky fellow.
No, I vibe with that consensus kit.
Yeah, I just don't like the idea of this big box of a Hummer turning into a tall, lanky drink of water. You know?
So what you're saying is that you don't want Ratchet to be a twink?
Yes. That is what I'm saying.
Appreciate the honesty. I do like one other thing I'll have to know. I don't think a lot of Ratchet toys do this. Call me crazy. I might be completely wrong, but I just really like how the roll cage or whatever we call the things on top of like cars like this. I like how it becomes like a whole claw thing. I can't think of any other TF that like.
I think it's a roof rack.
Yeah, that's probably like the smart thing. It's like actually called by everyone except me, honestly.
But it's neat. My issue with it was that the peg is so small, like the peg to like manipulate it, because the way it works is that the two halves of the roof rack are geared together, so it's like a big claw, and it's supposed to have like claw action. It's supposed to like come together when you pull it back on that tiny tab. The problem is the sides of the roof rack are so big, and the claw and the tab that you pull back on is so small that it's not a fun thing to do.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the problem with geared mechanisms. They can be fun, but oh my god, they can be fiddly. And I feel like this happens more than one time in this size class. I'll tell you guys that.
I think it would have been better had I designed it. I would have changed it so that the peg that attaches the claw to the arm was also the thing that you pull back and forth on to make the claw open and close. So that way you could use the entire toy as leverage and just push back and forth on the wheel to open and close the claw. That's how I would have done it to improve it.
You should prototype that.
You really should. I'm encouraging you to prototype that because that seems right up your alley.
Maybe I will.
Would it be alright with you guys if I go on a soapbox about Blackout real quick?
Go ahead.
So
we need one every episode.
Blackout, quite honestly, is kind of a core memory towards like my love of Transformers. He was, I'd say, the first big Transformer I got. I got it for my birthday in 2007 from my next door neighbor, and I'm very, very, very nostalgic about it for that reason. Just because like it was gifted to me. It was again my first exposure to a Transformer toy that, as far as my memory recalls, is not Classics Leo Prime or Triptychon. And he's just like this big guy, at least again in my like 7-year-old mind. And he like comes with a little minifigure of like Scorponok, and he like his whole like back of the copter becomes a staff. There's rotor spinning. There's like a cage thing, if I remember correctly, and
yeah, that's where Scorponok stores.
It's all just so cool. Like I don't know how else to put it. I know it's flawed. I know if I got it now, I'd probably be like, oh, like that's kind of weird, but I think that's the reason why I'm pretty attached to Blackout, even though I didn't watch the movie like fully for the first time until I was in like my 20s.
Yeah, a huge chunk of that toy comes off to form his weapon, basically.
Yeah, that chunk is taller than he is.
To some people, that might be lazy. To like little kid me, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. There is one thing though I'll criticize this figure for, as I went from being a pretty young child to a slightly young child of like 10, 11, 12, and it's that, oh my god, things just get lost with this figure so easily. By the time I kind of like stashed it away with the rest of my Transformers and kind of jumped over to Lego, and then subsequently like 5 years later refound it, and like as I was getting back into Transformers, I had lost Scorponok, I had lost every single rotor, I had lost the cage thingy. And I've probably lost a couple of like miscellaneous parts that are like friction held onto the figure.
Yeah, I was going to say the rotor blades are the thing that get lost the most.
Absolutely, it's a shame.
I will say though, this toy does one thing that that used to be pretty standard for helicopter Transformers, and they stopped doing, and that's, well, maybe I should save this for the gimmick episode. Well, I'll just give you a spoiler here. Spinning rotor blades, gimmicks, like where you pull back on a button and it spins the rotor blades. I love that gimmick on helicopter Transformers.
I do miss them a fair bit myself as well. I get why they're not done in like Chug and stuff, but I do wish they'd show up in the kitty lines for characters who happen to be helicopters. But I don't know, there's probably a billion reasons.
I love IdArmed. Have you become the Dean of Carpentry?
the dean of card. It's the dean of putting pins back together.
Who's there?
Oh,
It's the Pinkertons.
no, Blackout. I don't know. He was a really cool toy. I really need to like I said, very fond of Blackout solely because of this toy. I really need to get around to picking up like any Blackout toy that actually exists and like I can go buy. I should just go buy one for the sake of owning one.
I got to get around to discussing evac.
Oh yeah, you.
The floor is yours.
Yep, you're good to go. Rune?
Are you going to discuss evac?
Sorry, what?
You said you were going to discuss
Yeah,
evac.
no, you're good to go.
No, I said that I got to get around to doing my video on evac.
Oh, I thought you were gonna. We thought you were gonna go on some tirade about evac.
Yeah, no.
Why would I? I love him.
He
No,
has,
he
he has
just
some
thought you
new
were gonna, like,
parts worth talking about.
That's
Like
it.
he has a new head, he has new hands, and a new gun.
He had new hands. He had a new.
Yeah.
Wow, that is. I mean, I'm really looking at the pic now. Wow, he's got a lot of new stuff. Holy cow!
Yeah, we all thought you were going to talk about like the mold differences and stuff.
Well, I mean, what else is there to say that you haven't? New head, raft accessory. That's it. I do like how each version of that mold has been redecoed. Like you said, Blackout into Grindor, evac into Whirl.
Yeah, and he came with that bludgeon from Wreckage.
Yeah.
The Masters of Metallicato. We should probably move along here now.
I agree.
Who's next? I actually
Next.
have no idea who's next. So
Next slide, we have Ironhide with his repaint blue Ironhide, and we have Starscream with the pathetic old bean Thundercracker.
do you
With
have
the
something against?
Lockheed Martin license.
Do you
Yeah.
have something against Thundercracker Kid?
No, it's a
Oh.
reference to the Night/2020 stop motions where
I-
Prowl kills Thundercracker and Megatron calls him a pathetic old bean.
Oh my goodness!
Thundercracker was one I had as a kid. I liked Thundercracker. It's kind of weird that they gave Thundercracker in particular the G1 style head. Because you know he has he has a head that's more closely resembling the G1
Was
style Seeker head.
I know he's later down the line, but did Starscream end up getting one or not? Starscream.
Yes,
oh,
the G1 color Starscream has the G1 head.
No, but I meant Skyward. That's what-
Yes, he also has it. Ramjet has the regular movie head.
Interesting. Okay.
Which kind of works because the rounded head works as like a cone head style head.
Oh, yeah,
That's
good
what you
point.
want to do.
Very
Yeah, Starscream, the movie versus Seeker mold is hella rough.
It is very much so.
It has aged the least well because the gimmicks kind of get in the way of enjoying the toy. Like the missiles, they're on a bit of a hair trigger, so that like no matter how you're posing the arm, you'll set one of them off. There's 3 for each hand.
Also, the way they work, they work with like a wheel,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have proper hands.
The jet mode is really bloated and just very. He's a brick with a cockpit. The robot mode looks pretty cool though.
Yeah, you know, I don't remember the weapons pack of the F-22 Raptor that had like 3 giant missiles sticking out of it. Maybe that was a Cats thing.
The fucking Gauss gun.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's something of Ace Combat.
But yeah, I have the G1 Starscream version of this, as well as Thundercracker, Skywarp, and Ramjet. The latter 2 from Revenge of the Fallen. I really wish they had just painted the Revenge of the Fallen mold into all those colors instead. They never they never did any repaint of that mold that wasn't Starscream, and that's a crime.
It is that is quite a good mold from what I've seen.
Whereas they use this one like infinity billion times.
I
The
was
only
gonna-
other version I'd get of this one is the bright magenta version that came with like an HD DVD player in Japan.
Give me a quick reminder. Didn't this 07 Starscream toy get used like pretty? Am I mixing my toys up? Because I know there was a movie, The Best Starscream, but I forget if it used Revenge of the Fallen or
Movie The Best uses Revenge of the Fallen. Yes, I
Okay.
have that one. It's brilliant.
Okay, Revenge of the Fallen. That's a
They also did.
insane toy, but I like it. Like
They also did like a repaint of Revenge of the Fallen Starscream in the Masterpiece toy line.
yeah, no, that was
That was like one of the first MPM toys, wasn't it?
Hunt for the
Yeah.
Decepticon Starscream. That was MPM like 2. Pretty clear, like those. I guess Starscream toys just last around for a long time, except the Studio Series for some reason. Can't like those anymore. Yeah, I mean, there's the 15th anniversary pack, but that's its own thing, obviously. I feel like I'm going on a tangent now.
I like how we've all just collectively ignored Ironhide.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, sorry. Again, this was one I didn't own as a child, so like I'm gonna let you guys explain.
I didn't own this toy as a kid, but I did get one later on, and it's not the best. It doesn't hold together very well, in my opinion. You know, on my copy, the roof doesn't. The roof comes off very easily, and the crotch, the tabs for the crotch just don't want to work so that the crotch and chest can like collapse together in the way they're supposed to. It doesn't work right to me.
Yeah. So my experience with this mold, in Revenge of the Fallen, at the tail end of the line, they retooled Ironhide and gave him a bunch of guns. I forget what that toy was called. I think it's like
Recon
Recon
Ironhide. That's
Yeah.
Recon Ironhide.
And then they repainted that for a 2-pack with Bone Crusher in Hunt for the Decepticons, and that's the version I have.
Oh wow.
And it's all right. It's really, the toy's okay. I don't like how the chest halves are all spring loaded for some reason.
Yeah.
It's really just saved by the sheer amount of accessories he comes with. It's very kibbly. His transformation is very complex, and honestly sort of enjoyable, I think. But I don't know. It's cool, but that's about it.
I was gonna say, how would you compare like these earlier Ironhide toys to like, say, I'm trying to think, Dark of the Moon Voyager Ironhide? I'm saying that because I've experienced that one myself.
Dark of the Moon Voyager Ironhide is trash that should not be given the time of day.
You know
Moving on.
what? I hate to be so blunt, but I kind of have to agree with you based on experience in the mold a couple months ago.
The less we talk about that toy, the better.
Yeah, I kind of have to concur. I hate to say it, but I concur.
You're talking about it more.
Oh.
Anyway,
yeah. This is still the best Ironhide until Studio Series, and it's still probably even better than Studio Series. So,
Oh man.
I mean, they're just doing different things. Is all. It really depends on just what you what you value more in a toy. They're both fine, but this one has more play features.
I believe you. It's just my takeaway from this part is just like I'm surprised it sounds so hard to just make a toy of Ironhide. He's just like a guy that turns into a truck. You know what I mean?
Every single version of Ironhide seems to have like a really bad reputation with toys.
Yeah,
He
for
just has-
some reason, like it's always a different reason, but it's always something.
Ironhide in general, or just Ironhide across the movies?
Ironhide in general, G1,
D-Stores, Energon. Trying to think of them more. I guess
Energon
Animated
Ironhide's
got off
pretty-
scot-free.
Energon's pretty good. Well, I've heard Energon's pretty. From what I've seen, I don't own the toy. but
It's
I
a
think
goated toy. It's goated.
Yeah.
Runestone, you've been. Are you still with us?
Runestone is muted. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, I'm just quiet because these toys that I don't have much to say about that you guys haven't already. Because with Ironhide they try to cram in a lot, and I think the toy kind of suffers for it. And like you said, Kier, Starscream, might have been fair for his day, but he hasn't aged that gracefully. He's top heavy. He's a brick. Jet mode's a bit chunky. We've had better interpretations of the Raptor jet in the years since.
Yeah, there's really no reason to
even
experience this mold unless you want to go for a particular color scheme.
And even the off-road Ironhide, not the most. I mean, it's an okay redeco, but not particularly exciting to me.
Yeah, I do like how he's blue. That's always nice.
What was I about to say regarding Starscream? Yeah, it seems like everyone loves to gun for that DVD Vardia Red Star, whatever it's called. It's something like it's
just because it's unique.
Yeah, it's pretty cool color scheme. It's got the DVD logo, if I remember correctly, just like stamped on it, which is really funny.
Yeah.
These are just an interesting deco that will never be seen again. And I completely believe that. Like I believe what I'm saying wholeheartedly.
You should customize the Studio Series 1 into that color scheme.
Yeah, if Studio Series was like easily attainable, I would try and go for it. I assume it is if I buy that pack, but I'm not really interested.
I mean, there's the D2M, Starscream, which, from what I've seen, is basically the same toy.
Yeah, just smaller.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're getting well past 2007. Let's move on to the next slide. We have. Oh boy, I actually got both of these toys, Voyager class Optimus Prime and Megatron, on a birthday cake.
There's a Voyager Megatron, right?
Yeah, and it sucks.
Oh.
I'm planning on selling mine right now.
Good luck with that.
Voyager Optimus Prime was always interesting to me because he doesn't transform anything like he's supposed to, which is funny to me. Like none of the bits on his robot mode become the bits that they're supposed to on his vehicle mode, I suppose, besides the wheels.
I will say though, they did steal the leg transformation for that big turnaround shot in Revenge of the Fallen, where he's at the Air Force Base in Diego Garcia. They lifted that straight from this toy. Like if you watch that scene, the sleeper section comes up in a way exactly as it does on this toy.
I'm surprised they even would have done a new transformation for that. That's kind of crazy. Like not a bad thing, just like, oh wow, okay.
That's interesting, yeah.
Most of the Transformers actually have unique transformation schemes each time, especially Optimus Prime. Like he transforms completely differently in Dark of the Moon too.
Yeah, that's like new information to me. Holy cow.
Yeah.
It is pretty cool. I think this is the first time we see, at least on a movie Prime, this is the first time we see the smokestacks becoming guns.
Yeah, and they actually transform pretty well and integrate very well into the vehicle mode.
Yeah. It's certainly an interesting one, but it's definitely, in my opinion, compared to a certain other figure, perhaps outclassed in terms of 2007 Optimus Primes.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about. Sorry, I'm a bit slow.
I have no opinion on Megatron because I didn't have any Megatron in 2007.
Megatron just kind of sucks. He's very boring. Transforms exactly like you think. Doesn't even look good. He has spring-loaded feet. And I could never get the ice on the chest to sit right.
Yeah, he has like that weird bird foot gimmick that it doesn't really make sense for him.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Can you say that? Did you just say bird foot?
Yeah, bird feet, like you know, like his
Oh.
close up.
Oh, and like so. I need someone to audibly explain this gimmick to me because again, I keep forgetting what you.
So
Basically, if you lift him up, his feet shut.
do you have ROTF? Do you have ROTF Sunspot slash?
Oh, what? Oh my god, that's a really weird gimmick to have on.
Yeah, it's a really weird.
Yeah,
gimmick.
it's also on the Fallen.
Huh. I guess the assumption is like the feet are supposed to transform like into thrusters, but like thinking about it, it just sounds kind of weird, you know?
Yeah, why can't they just be manual?
Yeah.
Maybe it's like maybe it's because like Megatron flies in the movies, so they imagine kids like pick the toy up, and the feet close up like he's flying, so they can go. Psh.
No, I actually completely get that. That's like a pretty fair assumption to make, at least to me.
But I don't know. It just I feel like the engineering that went into that could have been placed elsewhere. This toy, from what I've seen, not owning the toy, this seems like a toy of misplaced intentions.
Yes.
Misplaced priorities.
I can definitely see that, like, honestly.
But then again, part of the problem with this version of Megatron was that it doesn't really transform into anything recognizable, so it's kind of hard to make the transformation satisfying. Because the problem with Bayverse Cybertronian designs is like they're not things that, or at least in the first couple movies, the problem is they're not anything we recognize, so they're not like you can't like make them turn into something else and be like, oh, that's that thing, because you have no reference point.
Nah, that's a good way to put it. Yeah, like for a square as like a G1 Cybertronian alt mode can be, or is like it's kind of simplistic. At least you can kind of like look at it and be like, oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
These not so much. They're just vague alien jets of some kind, which they're cool. Don't get it twisted, but it's just hard to interpret them in toy form. I guess I feel like that's the main thing. And this one, like you're kind of just looking at a whole muffin burger. I feel like if you
yeah, exactly my point.
Yeah. Did this Voyager ever get a repaint in the original line, by the way? I know Optimus got First Strike Optimus, which is, just pictured right there, but
it was mostly just store exclusives.
Okay.
Especially in Revenge of the Fallen. Very, very minor redecos.
I know what, Gavin got the Nemesis.
Yeah, that's the only one I can think of. But there was also one that replaced like the ice with fire.
Oh, okay. That one, I hate to say it. Well, I don't know if hate's the right word, but that one sounds like it comes to mind more than this one.
Yeah. They didn't change the sculpt; they just changed the color of the plastic.
Yeah, no, that sounds pretty like easy to assume that they wouldn't go that far, which I can't blame them. It's just a store exclusive.
Yeah. Runestone, do you have anything to add? We've been kind of talking over you for the past half hour. I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, the Voyager class Optimus Prime, I will say, like, obviously, if you're after a movie accurate representation of Prime, this doesn't quite hit it, but as just a toy to mess around with, I still think it's a lot of fun. This is the RoboVision Prime, which had a driver in the seat, which disappeared when you transform the toy.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, on my copy, I could never get the door to shut.
It was yeah, I had that problem too. It was it was done like a brighter deco compared to the mainline release, and like you brought up, the First Strike Prime is just well, it's G1 inspired, but honestly kind of dull. Replacing a whole bunch of flames, which everyone got their tits in a twist about, with just a silver stripe. A bit overkill in hindsight regarding the flames. And as for the Voyager Megatron,
all right, let's cap off our discussion of that toy with such eloquence. Our final new mold of the size class is Incinerator, who turns into a V-22 Osprey.
Incinerator, let's go.
Incinerator mentioned.
Incinerator Legend. I love.
Oh yeah,
Incinerator.
here's a redeco of Megatron Premium Edition or something.
Oh, that also doesn't look all that good. I'm not gonna lie.
That I just want to quickly say that is it was a Best Buy exclusive, but it's effectively a premium edition Megatron, and the very definition of polishing a turd at this point.
Vortex. I really like Vortex. It does the gimmick with the rotor blades, and it does
Vortex?
Vortex with the Incinerator. What? I'm retarded. Incinerator does the. It's late for me. It's 11 p.m. It does the gimmick with the spinning rotor blades, and it does it in a tilt rotor configuration, which I think is doubly cool. Unfortunately, on my copy, one of the gears has come loose from the shaft, so it doesn't really work anymore, which is very unfortunate. But I really like this toy. The only problem I have is that it doesn't have hands. Maybe if we ever get an SS version, they'll make it so the rotor blades become hands, but I don't see that happening anytime soon.
And hopefully
So
they'll repaint it into Springer.
I never got to mess with this figure until adulthood. I picked it up from Toy Foo's a charity sale they did a couple years ago. I've since sold it off, but I'm kind of regretting it because it's a pretty stellar mold. The only thing is, it just kind of blows what happens to those rotor gears eventually. I hate that it just feels like an inevitability.
Is that a common problem? The gears.
I can't say with any sense of certainty, but just going off of assumptions, I feel like almost certainly that's a thing everyone deals with at some point.
It's very sad.
Ooh, excuse me for 1 second, guys.
Yeah, I don't really have any experience with this toy. I messed with it for 5 minutes at a sleepover because one of my friends from high school owned it. But that's about it. He just looks cool, and that's all I can really say.
I think he is a really impressive toy because obviously his arms compose, despite the fact that he has that rotor spinning gimmick built into his hands effectively.
Yeah, you basically have a system of gears going all the way through his arms, which is really cool.
Yeah. And I think we've all touched on all these particular repaints and redecos and store exclusives as we were talking about the specific molds. So I'm not sure if we could get any more mileage out of talking about these.
Also,
Shall we move on?
I'll just quickly say that Incinerator loves his all-spark power, doesn't he?
Yeah. Shall we move on to leader class?
Sure.
All right. One slide for leader class. We have only 3 molds. We have Optimus Prime with Nightwatch Optimus Prime, Megatron with his premium redeco, and Brawl with his Deep Desert variant, which is the one I have. I actually have all 3 of these toys, Optimus, Megatron, and Deep Desert Brawl, but Brawl was the only one I had when the line was new. I only got Optimus and Megatron within the past year.
I distinctly remember Optimus Prime being a Christmas present from my parents.
Brawl was a Christmas present for me too.
And it's obviously very special toy to me because, it's a special toy to me because it was a figure that I got as a kid. It wasn't my main. It wasn't my first Optimus Prime. It was my first big Optimus Prime. My first ever big Optimus Prime was Cybertron Optimus, which is a toy I cherish to this very day. It's certainly a toy I do remember. I remember the day I got it, and it's an interesting toy by the standards of its time, but it did not age well, especially compared to the ROTF leader class.
Yeah, it is a phenomenal toy and has some phenomenal gimmicks, but it does lie in the shadow of something that is much greater.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's it feels unfair to judge the toy like that, but it's like it's in comparison with the toy directly coming after it.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna do?
There's one thing this mold has that the Revenge of the Fallen doesn't, and that's a Night Watch redeco.
Yeah, get on
Honest-
it, ID.
Honestly, has become one of the most iconic, like Bayverse Optimus redeco ideas.
Yeah, I remember seeing like I have like a vivid memory of the commercials for the Night Watch redecos as a kid.
Yeah, all spark power.
But yeah, Leader Prime good, but not as good as his successors, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Leader Brawl, I'm very interested in.
It's a very, very good toy, but the lower legs are just Kibble City. Like, they're thicker than they are tall.
Would you say this toy is worth getting in current year in the face of the existence of NPM Brawl?
Maybe not, but if like NPM Brawl will probably scratch your itch a lot better for a big brawl. But it's still a very good toy. It's so good. Megatron. He's not great. I'm not even sure I managed to transform him correctly the one time I tried. The instructions suck. The instructions just are completely unhelpful. But he's cool. He's big. He has some. Out of the three of these toys, he's easily the worst.
He says his name.
Yeah. Put that on the box.
He says his name and his eyes light up.
Yeah, that's all you really need out of a Leader Class toy.
What I need in a woman. She says her name and her eyes light up.
When she sees you.
If she ain't got an automorph gimmick, I don't want her.
So yeah, Leader Class is a bit of a mixed bag. I'd say Brawl easily has the most staying power because it's besides probably the NPM, which isn't even out yet, it's still the best toy of the character. Like no question, it's the best one. It has cool unobstructive gimmicks, a neat transformation, and a really killer tank mode.
I always find it really funny the way they modified the M1 Abrams for this movie, where they gave it the mind.
No, they didn't. As if I recall correctly, they didn't modify it for the movie. The one that they bought just came like that.
Really?
Yeah, as far as I can tell.
Oh, that's not stock. That's definitely not stock.
Yeah, but like I think this tank was like in something else and was modified for that. And they just happened to buy this one that had those modifications.
That is really funny, but it's like the second turret on top of the main turret is really funny to me.
They did modify Bone Crusher though to give his scoop just to make his scoop a lot bigger.
Yeah, they made the scoop bigger because it wasn't like it wasn't as cinematic, the real one.
Yeah.
But it does save lives.
The scoop on a real Minesweeper is tiny. It's like as big as like 2 hands.
That's all you need.
2 hands?
Yeah.
2 hands and a life insurance policy.
2 hands and a stick.
2 hands on a stick.
True. I feel like we're rambling now.
Yeah, we are. It's because it's just us.
Are Rune and Arm not here?
I'm finally back. My bad, everyone. What did I miss?
You missed our... Do you have anything constructive to say on any of these 3 molds?
I absolutely don't. Other than the general consensus I hear is Optimus is great, Megatron kind of sucks? ? And Brawl's kind of all right.
Similar to our consensus. Optimus Prime is great for the time period he was in, but he's very much overshadowed by the 2000 by the.
I was gonna say RTF exists, man. What am I supposed to do? You know?
Yeah. It kind of it's kind of hard when the toy that directly followed onto you became the de facto basis for the masterpiece version of that toy.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's crazy.
Runestone, how about you? As we approach the 3-hour mark,
I can't really comment on any of these because I've never experienced any of these molds. Though all I can say is that the redecos provide an opportunity for some variety in your collection. Like, if I were to pick up any of these molds, it would be the Night Watch, Optimus Prime, and the Deep Desert Brawl. I'll be damned if anyone could persuade me to pick up a version of that Megatron.
That's
because my God, his jet mode, like the Voyager, is just trash. I've never been a fan of Megatron's jet design from the first film, or at least no toy from the 2007 line has been able to execute it that well. Even the Legends class figure is a bit awkward as well. And you know, Studio Series is by default the best, but even that's a little rough too.
I think the Legends toy had the right idea, having the legs turn into the wings.
Yeah, I do like that.
Well,
anyway.
There's only one more slide about the toy line itself, and that is all of the various exclusives and multi-packs and sublines and that little Spy Changer Optimus that I got for like $7.
Okay, I actually had Ultimate Bumblebee as a kid. It's so weird. It's almost like that era, like, because that toy is weird to me because it's so huge. It doesn't go with anything else, and it has like all these electronic features that it could almost be imagined as like the Robo-Sen of that era. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Wow, I'm sorry. I just came back from soldering something real fast. And Ultimate Bumblebee, the very first one. That's an interesting looking toy. I don't know.
It's very big. It's very unwieldy. The wings parts form. The door wings parts form, but they pretend not to by being attached by like rubber tubes.
Ugh, ew, that sounds kind of gross, dude.
I would just rather take the parts forming.
That's just sounds unsightly, dude.
And it's got like the arms and the head are motorized. So they wiggle around. They wiggle around when you activate the lights and sounds. And it was very huge. And it was so huge that, like, unfortunately, this toy kind of got neglected by me as a kid because, like, I didn't have anything to play with it with. So, yeah. I still have it, though. It's massive. It's like between a Titan class and a Commander class in terms of size.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So do I get to talk about the UT repaints now?
Yes, but don't go too hard on them because we might save those for a future episode.
Okay, I just want to say I really like the UT repaints. They were a big part of my childhood as well because I really like those molds. I remember I had the Omnibot, or Omnicon or whatever they were, those Energon guys. I had repaints of those guys, and I thought they were cool. And upon getting Superlink Sprung, otherwise known as Energon Bulkhead, I am severely surprised that he was never redecoed as a Movieverse character.
Oh my
Because-
god, yeah, I'm about to say, oh, maybe he was like too cartoony, but also like look at some of the other molds they picked. So
Yeah, and he turned into a relatively realistic helicopter. So I always thought, man, like, why not?
also I forgot Armada Rattler got a reuse in this line too, but did they toss in I'm forgetting his mini long arm?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do. Look, he's in the picture.
Okay, wow. So 07
Also, I'm pretty sure, I may be mistaken, but I'm like pretty sure the mini cons were gang molded with the Armada figures anyway.
They absolutely were.
that's true. I don't know. Maybe I was assuming they do like a Cybertron level like retool, swap it out for a power Cyberplanic here or whatever. But
I mean, the whole point of doing the repaints was they were cheap ways to get more toys on the shelves. So I felt like they just wouldn't bother.
No, that's true. Completely unequivocally true.
Yeah, I would love to do another shorter episode going over the repaints in this line because they're just so cool. A lot of them were meant for the 08 universe line instead, but they got pushed up to the movie line, especially the deluxes in particular. Those were meant for universe, but they were pushed to the movie line just to get more movie toys out.
Maybe we should do a extracurricular episode on that one day.
I feel like it would be pretty long. It should just be a standalone.
Maybe. Did anyone have any of the Nerf toys as a kid?
Yeah, I had the handgun that turned into a camera.
I had the Starscream that turned the Starscream jet that turns into a gun.
When I was a kid, I really wanted the Optimus one of that.
Everyone wanted the Optimus one, dude. It's the freaking Optimus gun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
what's kind of funny about that Starscream Nerf toy in hindsight is that the way it's shaped, it looks more like Armada Starscream almost.
That's funny.
Because it has the swept back wings instead of the F-22's signature diamond-shaped wings.
Okay.
Yeah.
But enough of my plain autism.
Yeah, that's the spy changer in the bottom left is actually Japanese exclusive. I think it was came with a DVD purchase or something. I'm not sure. It's on the wiki. I just don't remember.
It's so cool.
But it is the coolest spy changer reuse. I love it. I have it on my shelf right now. I got it for dirt cheap too.
I was gonna say it's the coolest one. It's the coolest reuse outside of Spy Changer Scourge, but then you remember Spy Changer Scourge was the original. So.
Yeah, Spy Changer Scourge was the intended use of the mold.
Yes, because they made a couple notes, but that's going on a whole nother spiel.
Yeah, and it has a movie accurate vehicle mode color scheme. It has the orange to red gradient and everything. All the flames are right. It's covered in paint. All that blue on the legs is paint.
Ooh.
It's my favorite spy changer by far.
And I mean, I have affinity for it because obviously it helped inspire my legacy movie universe Optimus Prime custom. Of course it was going to, you know what I mean? But it was just really cool. They just took some random 01 toy and just repainted it into Optimus Prime for the hell of it.
Yeah. So I think that unless Runestone has anything to add here, I think that brings our survey of the Toyline to an end.
My experience with these miscellaneous figures begins and ends with Grindcore Big Daddy and the Black Armor Hide.
I need Big Daddy. That sounded wrong.
You're just so quotable today.
I know. Rude will have plenty of backlog of quotes if I ever go missing for an episode.
And I think we can say on the whole that this has been a pretty fun toy line, and this isn't even getting into the other miscellaneous non-transformable merchandise like Optimash Prime.
Oh my god.
Yeah, the
Oh,
robot
yeah.
replicas.
Potato head. And the role playing and the helmet as well.
Oh yeah. I was given the Bumblebee helmet, the Bumblebee voice changer helmet as a gift. Those
Yeah.
voice changer helmets never really worked for me. I remember I had
Yeah.
the clone trooper one and it never worked properly.
I had the Darth Vader one, and it was real finicky. But yeah, I think that brings our survey of the 2007 Toyline to an end. But before we go, we will take two. We have two audience questions. If you want to submit questions to the podcast, you can join my Discord server linked on my channel. And there's a special channel called Chugcratic Submissions, where about like a week or so before each episode, we open the channel up for submitted questions. And this month, we have two audience questions. The first one from DN Prime 17. Which toy exclusive character is your favorite?
Wreckage.
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 Yeah, Wreckage.
Actually, wait, I'm gonna say Incinerator just to be different.
Yeah, I was gonna say Incinerator would be a close second, but Wreckage is pretty cool. Long Arm's up there too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Long Arm's good as well. Oh fuck. Okay, Long Arm just because I had him as a kid.
Wreckage, Long Arm, and Incinerator.
Yeah, that's a consensus.
That's like the holy trinity of cool guys that just didn't show up in the movie, right? Like,
There are four of us. We need to come up with a fourth.
favorite. Nose goes on Swindle.
Landmine's pretty good.
Yeah, Landmine. All right, our second and final question is from Garrett, the Sandworm enthusiast. Out of any of the characters created in the line, who do you wish would get the chance in the spotlight again?
Wreckage.
Yeah, it's just Wreckage is our answer for both of these.
Yeah, Wreckage. He deserves more.
He quite honestly, he's just so effortlessly cool. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know if how you guys feel, but like,
No,
Like,
yeah,
he-
totally.
Like there's like this squad I'm imagining of just like these original characters from media that have like broken out to be like really popular, like Blackout, Lockdown, Nitro Zeus, and Lugnut. I think Wreckage should be part of that number.
I would like to see. I said it before, but I would like to see the drones redone in Studio Series Gamer Edition.
Yeah, that would be fun.
And you know what? There is one little thing I want to bring up as well. There were two drone unit models in the game that were never made into toys: the Scrapper drones and the Mixmaster drones. And I'd honestly like to see toys of them too.
Yes.
Yes.
But yes, that brings our discussion to a close. So, any, I guess, final thoughts on the line, or any novel observations you might have now that we've taken everything in retrospect?
it really does push me to want to start picking up more things from the line. Whenever I go to a TFCon or toy convention or whatnot. Because there are things I genuinely do want to like get from the line for the sake of just like fiddling with them or like fulfilling some kind of like 7-year-old wish fulfillment or something. There is a lot of charmers in this line, and I really feel like it gets kind of overshadowed by like the quote unquote brilliance of ROTF and like how insanely amazing that toy line is.
Yeah.
I mean, ROTF as a toy line is a really difficult thing to operate in the shadow of.
Yeah, no, but like I can see how this plus, obviously the movie were like kind of boosted the Transformers brand to like god tier level.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like Transformers was already up there with like Star Wars and He-Man and shit, but like, sorry, not Star, fucking Transformers was like kind of on the level of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and like He-Man, that sort of level before the movies, and then Bayver sort of brought it up to the popularity level of something like Star Wars.
It's probably more popular than Star Wars now that Disney's got a hold of it.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, considering the current state of the Transformers movies, maybe not by that much.
Yeah, now that you mention it, it is a sort of race to the bottom between the two.
Yeah.
But yeah, this toy line and Energon are the ones that I keep consistently coming back to just explore more of over the years. And it's just, not all of them are bangers. Like, I got Payload semi-recently, and he's awful. But for the most part, most of the toys that I get are just bangers.
Yeah,
Really satisfying.
It's certainly been a fun adventure going down this toy line. Among the first Transformers I reviewed on my channel.
Yeah. How time flies.
Mm.
God help us if we ever do a retrospective on Revenge of the Fallen.
Yeah,
Oh, boy.
We'll have to split that up.
We'd have to split that into like
individually.
3 sublines at least.
Yeah, that would be like a whole 12-part like epic, and then you gotta include the spin-off books, Hunt for Decepticon, Review the Shield.
I still think before that we should do a retrospective on Universe 2008.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I'd be down for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, because we could touch on the Walmart Deluxe exclusives from 2007 in that episode. That would be a good home for them.
All right. That'd be good.
Because they were meant to be there anyway. But at the same time, maybe just an episode on all of the UT repaints in general would just
Yeah, maybe the UT repaint episode might be an idea. And then we can talk about the Year of the Dragon toys as well. Year of the whatever. Was it Year of... No, it wasn't Year of the Dragon. It was Year of the something. The Energon, Optimus Prime, and Omega Supreme repaints they did. You know the ones.
Yeah.
I think, actually, you know what? I think we all forgotten a absolute gem of a redeco that wasn't even like from the Unicorn trilogy. Fracture from Classics Mirage.
Yes, she will get her due.
Yeah.
She will get her due. But yeah, we are past the 3-hour mark, so I'd say this is a good enough time as any to assign homework after this very long lecture.
Yeah, I think it's time.
Did anyone remember to prepare homework?
Everyone.
Okay, so yeah, your homework is rewatch the 2007 film and write a 500-page fan fiction where the point of departure is that Wreckage is in the film.
And also, I want to see designs for ratchet joint systems, so I can totally not take them to the patent office and pass them off as my own.
This has been the 10th episode of the Chugcratic seminar. We were very happy to see you all turn out. It's been a very fun journey. Not sure what next episode's topic will be, but we'll see you next month. Class dismissed.
Goodbye, everyone.